Exactly.
So what made you guys start this in particular?
We were just kind of like messing around and thought that it might be a funny thing to do.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
There's trouble.
Hey.
I'm ready. What's up, baby? How we doing?
The man of the hour.
No, sir. You are the man of the hour. Thank you so much for joining us for episode 1 of season 2. I almost said that backwards. So, how are we all doing on this fine? What day is this today? It's a Tuesday, a Monday. What day is it? I don't pay attention.
Monday.
It's not too much fun.
Yeah, it's a Monday, I think.
Yeah, I do believe it's Monday.
Can y'all hear me okay?
Yep.
I can hear you just fine, my man.
I'm using my Samsung earbuds, and I've never used them for my computer, so I wasn't sure if they're going to connect well.
Oh, it's fine. That's
Loud
a
and clear.
fine mug you have there.
You like that?
I
It'll hold
do.
2.5 to 3 pints. It's currently housing 3 Coke Zeros and some bourbon.
Nice.
Very nice. So, Jordan and I have been talking about you for quite some time. Jordan told me yesterday that you just ooze cool. That's what we were talking about when we were looking at your Instagram page, and we were just going over everything that you got going on. Is that a natural charisma thing? Have you always had that going on, just the oozing of the cool, as Jordan put it yesterday?
I actually had to see a doctor about the ooze, and it turned out to be nothing, I guess. So I guess it's charisma. I don't know. I think it's always been a coping mechanism, and just kind of blazing my own path, more so lately than when I was younger. When you're younger, like, you want to fit in with everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Were you one of the popular kids in school?
It wasn't like yes and no. So I grew up in Omaha, Nebraska, which it's not a small town, but it's not by any means a big town. It's still Nebraska. It's super Republican. Like, they live for Trump right now. Can't do anything wrong. COVID's a lie, right? So that's how I grew up. And the only thing to do is football. Like, I didn't drink until I was 21, like, legitimately, because it's going to hurt your football career. So that's all I did. So partly being on the football team kind of initiated that, but I feel like I kind of hung out with everybody. Like, I hung out with the ultra popular people, but I hung out with the dorks and whoever. Like, I just like to hang out with cool people.
Cool, real diverse.
Try to be.
Yeah, fair enough.
But then as I grew up, I just realized people liked me more when I was myself rather than trying to fit in. So I think that's where it came from. And I'm just a weird fucking dude, so.
Hey, well, we fucking love you. I mean, so there's no need to worry about that.
I love you guys too. Your posts, your comic, like, portraiture. I don't know what you're doing and how you're designing those, but they're coming out awesome.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I spend quite a bit of time on them, about an hour to 3 hours on each piece. And, so it's a lot of fun to do. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Jordan and I were talking yesterday about your Instagram page and how it's so, like you were saying, you like to hang out with kind of a little bit of everybody in high school, and you've been a pretty diverse guy. Your whole page is pretty diverse. You got a little bit of something going on everywhere. You got a little bit of your personal life going on. You got a little bit of that model dark side. You got that family man look, it's, I don't know what you're doing on your page, but my man, I feel like you got that star in the making quality. I see nothing but big things for you in the future.
I appreciate that. You clearly haven't scrolled back far enough to see how it started. Because I have not, I kind of use it as my archives. I've never deleted a post. I think I got like 10,000 posts or something ridiculous over the last 10 years.
Yep,
yeah.
Closed in. That's crazy.
You've never archived a post. You are fucking legendary, my friend.
Hey.
I've archived all kinds of stuff because I don't want nobody seeing that shit.
You gotta leave it out there. Hey, it's how we got here today. I just leave it out there.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. So, But what do you see going on in the future for yourself? Jordan and I, we've talked a little bit about just the content you're putting out. It's fantastic. Has anybody reached out to you for doing a little bit of movie stuff or voiceovers or anything like that? I mean, you got the star quality, my friend. I'm going to keep saying it until somebody signs you to something so you don't have to work a day job anymore.
That would be fantastic. And I probably still work a day job just to be that asshole that doesn't care at work. Like, I don't need this. You realize that, right? I don't need this. I'm the guy that shows up with like booze in the middle of the day at his insurance job. I don't know. It's like the future. I don't know, because I kind of just like play it by ear, and I haven't actively gone after doing anything, but I've got a couple of like supplement sponsors and like equipment sponsors. I work with obviously Beard Struggle like you guys do. And I kind of found my way into working with Wise Guy Suspenders too. Thor and Pablo are with them too. Just kind of happened to be, and that's kind of how I found Beard Struggle even.
Oh, cool.
But the goal was with Beard Struggle was I wanted to try the products, but clearly I wanted a discount. So I figured being a brand ambassador would be cool. But then I figured I wanted to move straight to the top because I want to go to Iceland the next time they go. So whatever I got to do, like that's the next goal, is go on one of those trips and just act a fool with the rest of the guys and get paid for it. But shy of that, no movie deals have been signed yet. I'm still dad bodding it up. Maybe I'll go after something once I get back in shape. That's the whiskey and 0-calorie Coke. Beer's too filling. I need to keep my girlish figure.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that Iceland trip, and I mean, I remember when this whole thing got started, that was actually one of the first things that went into my mind. I saw them traveling around Iceland, and it just looked super badass, and I was like,
right,
I can grow a crazy beard. I can pick up a shield and look super badass for 10 minutes. Let's fucking do this.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just evolved into what it is now.
Which is crazy. It's gotten out of hand almost.
Well, especially that Discord chat that we all have between each other. There's some craziness that goes on in that.
Yeah. Well, our little group is whatever. Like, I like our little group because even over the last month and a half or whatever it's been, it's like we become pretty close. We chat amongst each other, like off to the side, and comment on each other's posts. Legitimate. I find y'all's posts, like I go to your posts before you even send the links out, but it's just,
I've seen that.
It's cool to hang out with you guys as much as we can given the circumstances, and it has become so cool. But the overall, the 7,000 or 8,000 however many brand ambassadors, that got a little out of hand. Those ones get muted every once in a while.
Yeah, I get it, man. There's a lot of them. I think what are we? We're like 9,000 now, I think.
Yeah, it's getting up there.
We're getting close to 10. I'm kind of wondering what number they're gonna cut this thing off at.
Yeah, I mean, who was it? Chad that did the numbers and said, even on a low estimate, this is how many dudes have beards, and realistically, we're not even hitting 1% of it. So never hurts to have a guy throwing your company's name around, even if it's a small circle.
Absolutely.
A bunch of small circles make a really big one.
That's true. It's funny. Toronto, I believe, is doing that with parks. They have circles everywhere that you sit inside, and that's how you go to the park now to maintain social distance. So that's kind of fun. But Jordan, I know you wanted to ask our friend here some questions about content creation. What do you got going on your mind then, my friend?
Yeah. So like scrolling through your Instagram, as we were doing earlier, like I love all the different like styles of photos that you have. Like, how do you go about, like, what's your creative process, like when you're like setting up, like when you're planning like a set of okay
No, so a lot of it is I just picked up photography like December. I bought my camera. I mean, I've always been into art and photos and whatever, but it's always been a cell phone. And Jordan, me and you have talked before about like the different cameras and on the phones and why we bought the phone and whatnot. But a phone's still limited. I looked in, there's a company that makes some lenses for phones that makes them better, but now that I know more, you're always going to have a better thing with a camera. So I bought a camera. I'm getting older. I don't recover as much from bodybuilding as quick. So I figured eventually I'm going to need something that's not going to kill me as a hobby. So got the photography, but I was big into wildlife. I bought some like big zoom lenses and lunar photography and some star stuff here and there.
Cool.
But COVID, everything shut down here. Like state parks are closed up and whatnot, and I wanted to keep doing stuff. So I figured I'd force myself into portraiture, and
Cool.
I just started messing with it. Honestly, like I had nothing planned, and I don't like being in the front of the camera, to be honest. But my wife was pregnant and refused to, and my toddler has to be bribed with candy, and I don't want to give her like cavities. So I figured I better suck it up. So honestly, it was kind of just like, what do I have in my closet, and how can I make the picture set the mood for what I'm going to wear? That's just kind of how, I mean, legitimately, I'll have a few drinks and just figure it out. There is no process. I promise you that.
Cool.
Fair enough. Mitch kind of
Sure,
mentioned the
go
same
ahead.
thing. He's like, I don't really have much of a process. I just kind of do what I do, and it turns out good or doesn't. He mentioned that if he ever planned something, it never quite goes right. Nothing.
That's it. That's 100% true.
Yeah, which is funny. I do the same thing. Some of the shots that I've done lately, like one of them I did sitting in my truck. Like one of the art pictures that I put up the other day was just me sitting in my truck, and I just manipulated the shit out of that thing. Manipulated the fuck out of it like a bad girlfriend manipulates a weak boyfriend. So, no, that's cool. It's cool that you just kind of go by natural flow of the things. I mean, that's how all the best stuff seems to come out. Like I noticed with the Brand Viking masters, like Thor and Espen really get along well. And they just have like a natural flow to all their stuff. Hey, there's my face. Aw, aren't you just the sweetest thing, Jordan, trying to get me some But yeah, Thor and Espen, they kind of have like that natural chemistry flow. And that's just one thing that I really enjoy about them. They just come off really natural and funny.
Right.
So yeah, no, there I am. Some boxing gloves, the beard straightener. What can I say? I've lived an interesting life. But like yourself, I just kind of picked up the whole comic thing recently. What was it that made you jump into photography, particularly as a side hobby? Was there anything else that you were wanting to dabble in that kind of maybe crossed your mind? I know for me, I always thought about like, maybe I'll get my boating license. I live right by the lake. I'll go boating more often. That was like an idea for me.
It a lot of it was, so we had our daughter's 2.5 years old, and then when December came around, the camera was partly a gift, and they're like, "What do you want?" And we were about to have a kid within a few months, another kid, and I was like, "We keep saying we want all these nice pictures, and I'm capable of learning things pretty easily. Like, why should we try and get a photographer and pay for it when I can just annoy you guys with a camera in your face myself all the time?" So that's what triggered it. But I've always been into art. I started college as an art major, and digital media changed. We can talk about that story if you want later. But I was a digital art major, and I've always been creative. But along with getting bigger and bodybuilding and whatnot, my hands just don't draw the same way they did when I was a kid. Like I was published like in middle school and high school in different publications for my drawings, but I just can't get my hands to do it. But I still wanted to like get what I saw out into the world, because I feel like I see things different than others, or I see more. You know, just we all see things different. Like your stuff, it comes across like this is what I want you to see from where it started. And so I wanted to do that, and I just couldn't make it work with my hands anymore, not on digital, not on paper. And so I figured a camera was the next best way. And then from there, Photoshop maybe or whatever. But I started really just liking the way it was coming out without a whole lot of manipulation for what I'm doing. But I do like to play with lighting. I legit, like, I don't know. I've got one of my soft boxes right here to light me beautifully. I really wanted you guys to see my tuxedo t-shirt. I dressed up for you guys, so I wanted it to come through clear.
So much. So fucking awesome.
But as far as, so that's kind of what led me to the photography. It's a less painful hobby than most of my others. And as I get older, it's probably going to come in handy. And I wanted to travel, but I didn't have a whole lot of reasons to travel. And I think photography will kind of push me to do it. To go get my own images of all of these iconic places.
Fair enough. That's cool. It sounds like you've had a little bit of a journey getting to where you are with the digital art major, and then falling in love with photography and drawing at some point where you were getting published, and now your hands are just from bodybuilding got a little bit bigger, so it makes it harder to do, which I understand. I've had my hands smashed a bunch of times through boxing, so definitely I don't draw like I used to. They definitely shake all the time now.
For sure.
But that's pretty cool. Is there anywhere, like you were saying, you want to go to some places? Is there anywhere in particular you want to go and get some photography done? Any places that you're looking at?
So much like you guys, I mean, you have a little more than we do, but America is so young. There's very little history, and I love history.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So anywhere that's got some history, obviously Europe, of course, our common love of anything Viking. I'd love to go to Scandinavia, Greenland, Iceland, go see the museums there, go see some of the sites. I like medieval stuff in general a lot, so I'd like to go see a lot of the Gothic buildings and cathedrals and stuff.
Yes.
But also the wild, because I still like wildlife photography. I'd love to do something in Africa, Australia, New Zealand. Definitely a place I'd like to go. But there's really no limitation. I just want to go somewhere that has more than America.
Understandable. Yeah, I get that. I feel the same way about Canada. Eventually, I just go around. I'm like, all right, there's trees and mountains. There's lots of trees and mountains.
Yeah,
that's how it is for me. But like New Zealand, like you're saying, like that's one of the most beautiful spots in the world. It's hard not to fall in love with the landscape. It's almost majestical, you could say.
yeah.
But you're saying you've always kind of been a fan of the medieval stuff. So I'm guessing you're a big fan of Vikings and whatnot. Is there anything else that you're a big fan of? I know I'm a huge fan of like the Last Kingdom, or even the Norsemen. It just has a lot of like the history stuff involved in it.
Norsemen the show, right? Yeah, I love it.
Norsemen the show, which is just, it's fucking hilarious.
It is. I tried to watch it with my wife, but my wife is very cut and dry with comedy. Like if it's not blatantly comedy, she doesn't. It goes over her head.
Okay.
So she tried to watch an episode with me, and I'm dying because it's so tongue in cheek, right? And I'm dying laughing, and she's like, "I don't get it. Why is it funny? This is a serious show. Like this is not a serious show, not whatsoever." But yeah, like Viking Last Kingdom, or Vikings Norsemen Last Kingdom, it shows as wise. But I'm big into comics too, and
cool.
comic movies, DC, MCU, but more so the comics. I look at the movies as their own entity. A lot of comic buffs bitch about the movies, but it's like it's just its own thing. So like you can't compare them. But I'm big into that. I do cosplay and shit like that. Like again, just the creative side. I make all of my stuff.
Sweet.
You make all that stuff
for the most part. So my brother did. He kind of retired, but he's made all of the shells. So my Deadpool mask, there's a plastic shell under it. You put the fabric over it, and then the eyes are magnetic. So that I've got some Red Hood stuff. I've got some other helmets that he made, but then like the suits, I either painted or had painted by a close friend, and there's one of them. But all the armor, the belts, there's whatnot. There's not much in that one. I don't have all my guns and whatnot. But all of the
shots you've ever done. I loved when you did that, because I think in one of them the caption was like, "Get ready, it's about to get crazy" or something like that. And I was like, "Oh shit, what's he gonna do now?"
Yeah, this one.
All excited.
But like even the Viking stuff, the bracers, any of the leather work on my Viking pictures I did myself.
Wow.
So I did the leather work. The cloak was just some fabric from a store, and it was stark white. And I touched it up. I airbrushed it to make it look a little dirtier, stuff like that.
That's awesome.
It looks legit as fuck, man. Like Jordan and I are talking, it looks like you're ready to, like you were on the boat with Ragnar, or you took his place. You threw him off the boat and took his place. Yeah. It looks like you're fresh out of the battle scene.
That was the goal for that one. And so that's like my favorite Viking look. Like everyone wants to be berserker and be shirtless and be shredded and tattooed up. But I like this look. It seems more realistic, except for I live in Florida. And mind you, it was 104 degrees today, or 40 Celsius for those of you not on America's stupid system. But so like all of the festivals that are here are like in the summertime, and that's how I want to go. and I leave like 15 pounds lighter.
Fair.
That's awesome, man.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's funny. I'd love to go to some of those festivals too. I always see them either being advertised or talked about, and it's like that would be so much fun just to go see other people that are into the same shit as you. I'd love to go march around and be like, so who's the Earl around here? I gotta kill to get me a promotion.
Yeah. And the festivals are cool because everyone's just there to have a good time, and there's a lot of booze.
Yeah. That's hilarious. I wonder, is it just mead at these things that they drink? Because I mean, I know that's what Vikings drank. But I mean, I wonder if there's like that one Viking that's just in the corner drinking White Claw.
Right. Well, so the ones I've been to, they'll have beer, like ales and beers and whatnot. And and there is a lot of mead. The mead pricing has gone through the roof for some reason. I don't know why. The last time we went, I went to go fill up my horn and they wanted like $40. And like my small horn, not this cup, not my gallon, like it's like a 20-ounce horn and they wanted like $40. I'm like, never mind. Let me get beer. But they do have beers. It's not like name. I want to say maybe they had Budweiser or something like normal, but the rest of it was pretty like made for the festival. But it's not all mead. And it's not all Vikings either. Like it's just kind of Renaissance in general for the most part.
Sweet.
Fair
yeah, that's really cool.
They have knights and stuff walking around as well.
Yeah, and they'll have like jousting events and whatnot. And I like to go to see the stuff like the craftsmen and all of the leather goods and swords and axes and all that.
That's really cool. Yeah, I've been working on a video project recently, so like I feel your pain with the like excessive like layers of gear and hot weather. Like
right? Yeah, that last one you did, you went out in the woods and did I'm like, I know exactly what he feels right now, except for I'm in Florida and it's worse.
Yeah, I think that day it was probably closing in on like 30 degrees Celsius. Like and I was in like a black long sleeve shirt, like. I had this like I had like a big fur coat and I had this like fur like blanket that I was using as like extra like fur like in the jacket and it was a hot day. I definitely lost weight during that shoot that we did a couple weeks ago.
Being beautiful is painful. That's all there is to it.
That's right, exactly.
It's so it's funny you mentioned that. I always wondered about those celebrities in the summertime, like Floyd Mayweather when he wears a giant fur coat, and you're like, bro, that can't be comfortable.
Yeah.
I understand you got air conditioning everywhere in your vehicle, like, but Jesus Christ.
Yeah, like you got to go outside at some point.
Absolutely, that's hilarious. Oh,
so what's next for you guys?
Oh, well, we got all kinds of stuff going on right now. Jordan's been working hard on getting the podcast a little bit more leveled up. I've been working on the merchandise. I fought with the merchandise for 3 days. That was difficult. It's been a lot of fun, though. We're reaching out to more guests that normally we wouldn't reach out to because we're just kind of, we want to see what we can do as far as this whole thing goes. At some point, we want to make it so we don't have to work anymore. We don't go to work as a day job. I'd like to be around my son all the time. I know Jordan, I'm not sure if you would like to finish university or not, if you could make this all work. I can't speak for you. But yeah, my goal is just to hang out with my kid and be a fucking super role model for him and just keep doing what I'm doing. I love my kid. I live for my kid.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, I would definitely like to finish school. But if I didn't have to do like some like boring 9 to 5, like that would be ideal. Cause like I love like content creation and like photography and like shooting and editing videos and like all that kind of stuff. So if I could just do that, like I would be very happy.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, that's kind of the same goal for me. I'd like to continue on with content creation and just kind of be myself. It's always good if you can make a living being yourself because that's kind of hard to fake. So just be yourself and people like that and they want to see you more. I'm more than happy to give them more of me, And not only that, but I can help other people. Like if Jordan needs a connection and I have the connection, I can help Jordan. If you need a connection, I can help you. If Phil needs a connection, I can help them, or vice versa, right? Like it's just a big, the team building thing. I've never been a big team person. I don't like teams. I used to do like basketball, football, hated them. In football, there was a particular kid, number 42. I don't know your name, but if you're still listening, I still hate you. And me and this kid, for whatever
42.
reason, yeah, I don't know what. No, I think we were in like grade 9 or 10. I don't remember what the issue was, but he was just across from me and just looked at me weird, and I guess I looked at him weird, and like the whole team would be down the field doing whatever, and him and I would just be ripping each other's helmets off and punching each other, and fucking, we were not there to play football. It was stupid. So I went into Olympic wrestling, and I was a big boy back then. I guess I was like 315 pounds when I stopped. I got into it at about 220. So I got into a single competition kind of sport, and I did way better. And I kind of kept that mindset for a long time until we did this beard program. Actually, I always kind of had a me mentality. I got to focus on me. Now it's a team thing. I love watching other people grow and succeed. Like Jordan, I love seeing him smile every day. So,
sure.
Yeah, man.
I think so. On that team thing, so any individual sport, to me, because I've done team sports and I've done individual sports, powerlifting, bodybuilding, strongman, what have you. But there's always still a camaraderie in the individual sports, right? And to me, I think maybe that's why you like this, because this feels like an individual sport with camaraderie, right? So we're all trying to grow, but we want our friends to grow too. I want my brothers to grow with me. So I want to do good, and it's for me, but I'm going to do better if you do better too. So
absolutely,
it's kind of how I'm seeing it. It's not a team thing per se. There's a camaraderie more so.
For sure.
Yeah, and I wish I could say that I had that kind of mindset when it came to wrestling, but unfortunately, my wrestling team was not the camaraderie type. They were a bunch of fucking animals. I remember this one kid. He wanted to be liked so bad. Oh, he just wanted to be loved, but he was not loved. Nobody fucking liked this kid. And somebody asked him to do the impossible sit-up. And I don't know if you guys know what the impossible sit-up is, but that's where you lay down on the ground and somebody pulls a towel across your face. And while you're trying to sit up, somebody has already pulled down their pants and their asshole is about 2 inches from your face.
Right.
Oh,
so then they pull the towel away and you fucking kiss this guy's asshole with your face. And
oh no.
Yeah, that happened quite often, but it was more so the women were vicious to the other women on the team. It was brutal. I won't mention what they did to each other because that's just mean. But yeah, kind of like what you were saying, like I kind of take that with MMA. If a guy that beat me does better, then it makes me look better in the long run, even if he kicked my ass because he's doing well. It's kind of that kind of thing, but in a much nicer way. But you were saying that you were a part of doing team sports and then individual sports like the bodybuilding and football. Was there anything else that you dabbled in, or was it mainly just bodybuilding and football?
So football, high school, college, track in high school. So another one of those where it's an individual / team sort of setting. Didn't do track in college, just football. And then from football, when I quit there, I realized it was the working out, the physical challenge of it all, not necessarily the game itself. So kind of tried to figure out what I wanted to do, and then started competing in powerlifting, doing really well. Was ranked pretty high in the world for a while, and then got out of it, and all the kids now have gone nuts. So I don't even think I can compete anymore. The amount of knowledge out there. I mean, I don't want to say it's all drugs because it's not all drugs, but the amount of knowledge available for training and just some of the genetics these new kids have. You got kids squatting 1,000 pounds with just knee sleeves on, and it's mind blowing.
It's scary.
So powerlifting, and then first love has always been bodybuilding. From the time I was like old enough to talk, I wanted to look like a superhero. I had seen Superman. It's when the Christopher Reeves movies were out. The Batman movie came out in '89, and I didn't know it was the suit that gave him muscles. I thought he was just shredded. And so I was like, that's what I want to be. And then got into Arnold movies and all of that. And it was just so figured, how do I look like a superhero? You be a bodybuilder. Bodybuilders look like superheroes. And so it's always been the first love. Powerlifting was just easy. I get strong pretty quick, like unproportionally strong, which is great for powerlifting.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But wanted to try and once I'd established myself there, I wanted to get back to bodybuilding and give it a try, and competed pretty heavily for like 5 years. And then the last year of it wrecked me.
Mhm.
My metabolism was screwed. I
Mhm.
decided to try and go from shredded 255 pounds to 220 pounds, and I had to lose 30
Damn.
pounds of muscle. And Scott, you know exactly what that's like, trying to drop weight
Oh,
when you
oh
don't
my
have anything to
God.
drop. You know how that goes.
Oh,
But I
I
was trying
do.
to do it. I was trying to do that with 35 pounds of straight muscle. So
Jeez.
Oh,
I was eating less than my significant other at the time, who was a very tiny woman.
Mhm.
Um,
yeah.
so like 1,000 calories a day and cardio
Oh,
3 times a day just to burn off. So that kind of
oh,
wrecked me mentally and physically. So I haven't done
Mhm.
shit but get fat and
absolutely.
drink since.
Yeah,
But as far as sports,
absolutely.
I want to get back to, I want to do one more bodybuilding competition with the beard,
Mhm.
with the hair,
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
few more tattoos, go up on a, so judges are very picky. They want a
Yes, they
Mhm.
are.
specific type of song, they want a specific
Yeah.
type of look. And I'm going to go up there and I'm going to do what Chris wants to fucking do. And they're going to
Yeah.
hate it. And I'm going to be pissed if I don't win, but I'm doing it for the memories. Like
Mhm.
I do want to do one for me. I probably
Yeah.
won't get
Yeah.
back to powerlifting, but I do want to get back to strongman competition. It's
Mhm.
just fun.
Cool.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that. I remember Dan Ziegler was talking about that, about how he kind of did like the taboo thing when it came to bodybuilding. He had the beard. He was all natural. Some of the guys were definitely doing roids and doing
Right.
drugs and getting jacked up. And he just went in there and did it his way. And, you know, he won some competitions and he did well for himself and made a name for himself. So I totally get where you're coming from. I totally understand what you're saying there. That's very admirable. I definitely understand the weight cut. My God. Oh,
That
in
was
MMA,
horrible.
it's horrible because I remember for me, I don't know what you had to do, but for me, I had 8 weeks to lose 40 pounds the first time I did it.
Oh.
So I had 8 weeks, I had to lose 40 pounds. I'm like, all right, I don't know how I'm going to do this. And I did a bunch of research online, like this is how you weight cut really fast. This
Right.
is what makes your body do this. And I had the worst weight cut in the history of my life. I lost the weight and I had the fight, but I was so fucked up by the time I got in there
Hmm.
that he knocked me out in, I think, 32 seconds.
Oh.
So, and I remember my face bounced off the floor and that's what woke me up. And there's just like, my face is all fucked up and the referee's like, hey man, like, do you know where you are? I'm like, I'm in Vancouver. He's like, I'm like, Coquitlam, which is just like an hour away from
Right.
Vancouver. He's like, yeah. How many fingers am I holding up? I'm like, 6. Shit. 4. Fuck. He calls it. My cornerman comes in, and fucking bless his heart, he's like, he comes in, and I'm like, what happened? You're so fucked up. Oh man. But yeah, I drank Epsom salts and all kinds of shit to
Right.
make weight that time. It was horrible because I was so focused on making the weight. Was there any kind of crazy weight cutting that you did for when you were doing this? Like you're saying, you were any crazy tactics that you took that you'd probably wish you never taken, like the Epsom salts?
Yeah. I mean, no. So not so much water. So when I say I had to lose the 35 pounds, the thing was, so I mean, you have an idea of what an on-stage bodybuilder looks like. You're depleted
Absolutely.
already.
Yeah.
So in March of the year 2016, in March of the year, I was on stage at 255 pounds. So that's what I weighed in that depleted state.
Yeah.
I decided to change classes. So I was just this open super heavyweight bodybuilder. Like when you imagine bodybuilding, that's what I did. But then they brought out this class they called it classic. And it's like the look Arnold had. So not massive necessarily, just that classic look, right? But they decided you had to be at a certain height, you had to be a certain weight. And for whatever reason, they decided at 6'1", you should only be 225. So
all right, that's awesome.
Right. Because Arnold was 242 and they said you should look like that at 225. I don't fucking know.
All right.
But anywho,
25 pounds of muscle, but try and do the same thing. Cool.
Yeah. So I had to weigh in for the show. So basically 255 as shredded as I could be down to 225 if they measured me at the right height, which they didn't. They measured me an inch shorter for whatever reason. So I had 5 pounds less I had to make. So I had some time to do it though. So from the show that I decided I was going to change, I had about probably 10 weeks. So it was just low calorie diet, a lot of cardio, a lot of higher rep lifting, just to maintain as much as I could, but still lose weight. The thing is, for me, I had to eat a lot of chicken and like a lot of fish. Red meat makes me keep muscle mass. So I had to eat like whiter meats, and I started dumping it a little. But towards the end, to get the last little bit, it was like you're used to. You sit in the sauna in like 4 pairs of sweatpants and 3 sweatshirts, and you feel like crap, and you're taking laxatives, and you're doing this, and you're doing that. And I made weight, but felt like crap. Thankfully, you're not competing, right? You're not fighting another dude. You're not lifting weights. You're just standing there trying to look pretty, but you feel like shit. And coming down from the size I was at, I felt like I was a chemo patient. Like I'm not, nothing against, you know, I don't want to make jokes of cancer patients.
No. Hey,
but like from where I was, like people that hadn't seen me in a while, like I was just working to get as shredded as I could and hit the weight. I was looking at the scale and looking back at pictures like, oh my God, I looked like I was sick. Like what the fuck? And it wrecked my metabolism. I didn't want to do shit. Like I literally just sat down after that. I'm like, I don't even want to lift anymore. I don't want to do anything. And it just changed me completely. And I just now, the COVID now is what makes me want to get back to it. Losing the gym, like not being able to go for 3 months, I realized how much I need it for my mental stability. Like
absolutely.
There's a lot of depression and stuff in my family, and I think I get it. But I've never had to take 3 months off from the gym. So now I realize, it's a scary dark hole you slip into when you don't have something to keep your mind off of it.
Totally. Yeah, there's many times in life I used MMA as a crutch when I had something going on, a girlfriend fucked me over, marriage problems, whatever was going on, right? You go in and you go to your place, which is the gym for a lot of people. MMA is the same thing. It's just a different kind of gym. And yeah, you go in there and you deal with your demons, essentially.
That's it. That's it.
You feel better. But like you said, COVID kind of cut that out for a lot of people. I know where Jordan is. Jordan, are you allowed to go to the gym in Toronto yet?
So I'm just outside of Toronto. So we're further along than like Toronto is.
Fair enough. I forget.
But I don't think so as of yet. Like they're still like they're moving real slow on like reopening things. So like I think the YMCA is like in the process of like retraining their staff for like enhanced like sanitation and that kind of stuff. So I think they might be opening up soon, which probably means that more gyms will be open up soon. But I have my mom is a personal trainer, so she set up a little home gym just next door to me in our like storage room, like extra basement area. So we got some stuff in there. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I know where I am. Like you can go to the MMA gym and you can do some training, but I think they just allowed people to start wrestling and doing jiu-jitsu again. You couldn't do that for a long time. So now people are just starting to come out of their dark holes here. But yeah, losing the gym was a tough one because like you're saying, it's where you go to deal with your demons. It's where you go to deal with a lot of your problems. And when you lose that for 3 months, you're like trapped in a room with all your problems and you're like, fuck, I gotta deal with this every day. I gotta deal with this shit every day now.
Well, now, so take that and add a 2.5-year-old that just found her independence and a newborn that's colicky. So, so daddy's sitting here just trying to cope with life and not swing from a fan. As my dad pointed out, there's no fan in the world that would hold me up at 280 pounds. But so we're not having to deal with suicide, but we would have to deal with some repair bills and a hospital bill, which is also shitty.
Oh, I love dark humor. That shit tickles my soul. Oh, I understand the pain, man. They say that you lose 5 years of sleep or something in the first 15 years of your kid's life. A lot of it being because of the childhood, the baby stage, right? They're waking up all the time throughout the middle of the night. My son is 4 years old. I love that little son of a bitch, but he comes in and wakes me up at 2 a.m. and he's like, bitch, put on Jumanji. And I'm like, right. So he's definitely found his independence, but man, he still needs to learn a little bit. Like daddy's got to get his beauty sleep because fucking this beard does not look this good in the morning, even with the beard.
Right.
Oh shit, that's fantastic. So do you have two girls or a boy and a girl, or I forget what your structure is that you have in your house?
The oldest, the 2.5-year-old, is a daughter. Her name's Charlie. And then we just had Max. We call him Max. Magnus is his birth name. So we had Magnus in May, and he's a boy, clearly. But wife wanted Maximus. She loves Gladiator. We like the name Max, but didn't want to go Maxwell or Maxim, whatever the other Max names are. And I didn't want Maximus because of the movie. There's just too many Maximus. I was like, well, I love Nordic. I've got Nordic history. I was like, let's just go with the Nordic version and still call him Max. But I told my wife we gave our kid a strong name, and then he came out a crybaby, and I think I'm getting payback.
Oh man, that's funny. Are you guys hoping to grow the family anymore? Or are you happy now that you got one and one?
No, yeah, and even if we didn't, so we had like not to get into it, but we had a lot of troubles with both trying to get our first daughter. We weren't sure that was ever going to happen, and then we were blessed with her, and we figured we'd try, and then we had some more troubles with the second one, and we're done. I'm 38. I'll be 39 in August. She'll be, I'm not allowed to say, but she's close to my age. So we're old enough that we figure we're done trying, and we're happy with two. We just wanted Charlie to have a sibling to grow up with and have that bond with. And we're good with that. I'm going to go get the old snipperoo so we don't have to go through this again.
Brave soul. I've often thought about getting the old snipperoo, only having one. And I know that I'm just going to, sir, you have to leave the office. Fuck you. I ain't leaving. You're going to give me this shit even if you don't want to. Sir, you need to leave. It's 2 hours past closing time. Fuck you. I ain't leaving. Make sure it's appointed time. But no, I totally get that. That's funny. Oh, shit. So, no, the big thing that I always find as a parent is it's such a big change. Do you find it was a big change from having one to now having two, or is it still a little bit too early to see the big changes?
I think it's early. So I'm a very logical person. So in my mind, having two doesn't double the cost or double the action of everything, right? Like it's kind of a synergistic effect. So you're just doing a little bit more than you're already doing. You're not doing double everything. But our daughter was super easy. She's like the best baby ever. She cried a little bit when she was hungry. You feed her and she stops. She's very intuitive for her age. She's like really smart. She was talking early and everything. She'll sing songs now, but she was super easy. So everyone warned us that we were going to get a demon child for our second. And I mean, he's a baby, and everyone says that he's an average baby, but we were just so lucky with our first that it's like, I would rather be deaf right now than listen to all this damn crying. So it's a little early to tell because all I can hear is crying. I close my eyes and I hear crying. I don't even know if he is still crying. I just hear it. So like I could be blaming him for shit that's not even there just because of the first few weeks. But we've been warned what to expect, but I think it'll be all right. I mean, we're dorks, we're nerds, we read up on everything. So like we feel, and you never can be ready, but we feel like we're as ready as you can be for whatever might come up.
Oh, fair enough. I'm still laughing. That's fucking funny.
That's really funny.
I made a joke with Jordan a little while ago. He was, him and I were talking, and I was like, you know, you're going to get a girlfriend, and I'm going to give you 4 months, and you're going to get her pregnant. And then you and I are going to be able to sit here and have conversations about kids in like 2 years. And he's like, oh, wow, in 4 months, you really don't think that much of me. And then I put it in the Discord Discord chat. My tongue's too fat for my face. And next thing you know, everybody else starts throwing in bets. 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. So Jordan,
I was
Jordan
like, thanks, guys.
Jordan has
Over under.
On him. Jordan, I forget, how young are you? You're the ripe young age of which?
20.
20.
20.
Yeah.
Just
Young
a
gentleman turns
baby.
20. Just a baby.
You literally
I'm
could be my
28.
son.
And I'm 28, and I know that for me, I'm still a child, even when it comes to being a parent. I'm just a baby at the same time. I think Gary Vee said it: if you're not 40 years old, you're still a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was just like, that's fair enough. And it's nice because I remember being a kid and going to school, and it was kind of like you had to figure out what your career was, what you were going to do with your whole life by the time you graduated. And the world has changed so quickly that that's not what you have to do anymore. You kind of get to pick and choose a little bit more, have a little bit more fun with it. Is that something that you're grateful for in the kind of work that we're doing, like with the Beard Struggle and your content creation, just like the kind of freedom that's out there a little bit more?
Yeah, for sure. Because like I said, I'm 38, so they've started calling my
don't look 38.
Well, it's because the beard hides most of my stupid face. So, so they've started calling my generation the Xennials because we're not quite Generation X and we're not quite millennials. So we're the generation that played outside still, but also can do video games. You know, we like to throw sticks and stones and play Ninja Turtles, but we could program a VCR when our parents couldn't, right? So
yeah, man.
I've always felt like I've had freedom in general because of the playing outside and doing what you want to do in that aspect and physically. But I think that there is so much more open now because really truly seeing it. And Scott, you've seen some of it. You're old enough that you've seen some of it change dramatically over the last few years. But going from, AOL Instant Messenger and dial-up modem to now I can like run at almost a gig of wireless internet on my phone through a satellite is absurd. So I think the freedom comes from we'll call it freedom, but freedom comes from the speed of access to everything, right? But it's also a downfall because I've talked to friends and there's a lot you can do with the content creation, all of that. But thinking about when I was younger, if this shit was available when I was Jordan's age, we wouldn't be having this conversation today.
Yeah, my dad says the same thing. Like with like social media, like if it was around when he was younger, like it would have been bad.
Like I wouldn't have the job I have probably. I wouldn't have my wife. Like half of it I wouldn't remember. I would probably use social media to remember what happened the day before or the week before.
Absolutely.
And none of it would be good and it'd already be out there.
Yeah, I'm grateful that I was at the tail end. Like I remember when I would graduate or when I would leave. So I had elementary school, middle school, high school. Middle school was 7, 8, 9. High school was 10, 11, 12. So when I was leaving grade 9, going into grade 10, I had to go back to the high school or to the middle school that I went to help teach them wrestling. And I went back and I walked by their computer lab and they had all brand new computers that I had never seen before. And I was like, God damn, motherfucker.
Right.
Like you're saying, I was like 1 year behind the big changes. I didn't get to see them at the time, but I would go back and I would get glimpses of them. And I was like, God damn, this is something different. They were teaching me handwriting in school, and now there's really almost no point for handwriting in school. My niece, I believe everything she does is on a computer, a tablet, and if she does write, it's fucking very rare, if ever.
Right.
So it has changed definitely quite a bit. I'm grateful Instagram was not around when I was 15. Thank God.
Yeah, exactly.
The stupid shit that we did. I mean, I'll be honest, me and a friend of mine, I hope he's listening to this because one day I'm going to come back and slap you in the face for the stupid shit you made me do. We went around, we drove around, and we stole 38 street signs in one night, which in Canada, I think they're like $400 or $500 each if you get caught. It's not cheap for taking these things down. It's a bit of a safety hazard. Whatever. We stole 38 of these signs, pulled these signs out of the ground with a truck that was not ours, did burnouts on people's front lawns. Like we were just juvenile assholes when we, because like you're saying, there was no risk of it being caught on camera. There was no doorbell cams back then. Security systems were just starting to come out. Like I remember going around and playing outside and there was no worry about some dude abducting you and throwing you in a van.
Right.
You know? So I'm not sure. Jordan, what was it like for you growing up? Did you get to go outside often? I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah.
You're younger than I am.
Yeah, for sure. Like definitely, because I have three siblings, so we definitely spent a lot of time like outside, like playing in the backyard. Like even to this day, like we'll still like because there's a swimming pool in my backyard, so we often in the summer we'll be outside swimming or like walking to
Yeah.
parks or that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, I've definitely seen it like switch. Like even like during my time in school, like from like when I was in grade 9, which was only a few years ago, but like just seeing the difference, like like literally everything is online now. Like if you don't have a computer, like an internet connection, like you can't do school. Like it's like way more difficult now than it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm
Mhm.
kind of interested to see what's going to happen with COVID because there's so many people that don't want to go back to school. There's so many people that
Right.
do because they miss the social aspect, but then there's a lot of kids with weak immune systems. So it's like, what do you do here? And I know up here in Canada, there's a lot of people refusing work because they don't want to go back and put themselves in a predicament where they could get sick and pass it on to other people.
Right.
Yeah.
What's it like where you are right now?
So again, I'm in Florida, and they opened up things pretty quickly. We weren't the first to open stuff up, but I mean, all the news you hear about Florida, there's a reason for it. So we opened things up. There's still some limited stuff, and there's suggestions, right? So that's a big thing. There's suggestions, but nothing's going to happen if you don't follow. But we've been having ever since they opened stuff up, it's been spiking. They're talking about like thousands of new cases a day and blah blah blah. So, but a lot of companies that are based down here are big enough that they're working from home anyway. So my company, I work for Progressive Insurance. I'm sure you get some of the. I mean, we don't insure in Canada, but I'm sure you see some of the commercials on American TV, like the Flow and whatnot.
Yep.
So I work for there,
and
we're huge. So they offered work from home as is, just as a benefit of the company. You could work from home anyways. But they've now sent everybody home. I think we have only 2% working in the offices that just have to.
Wow.
They have to be there for whatever reason. So the hang on, I'm told my camera is off. Hang on one sec. We got technical difficulties. I thought this might happen, so I got an extra battery.
No worries, it's all good.
I'm gonna keep talking though. So
yeah, keep talking. We're all good.
My company sent everyone home, bought everyone computers to work at home, and they're talking about we're going to be that way until 2021 at best, and then folks go back to the office. My wife works for a competitive company, Geico, and they're also working from home through at minimum 2021, and a lot of other companies are doing the same. We kind of the meme goes. Right, we now finding out how much really could have been done through email.
Totally. Yeah, somebody else was saying that the planet is actually showing great signs of recovery very quickly. Right? There's nobody driving anymore. There's no planes flying around every 2 seconds. There's not boats all over the place trying to deliver goods to other countries and stuff like that because everything's slowed down significantly and people are doing more local buying. So it's been kind of cool on that aspect to see that you can have, I don't know what, there's 7 or 8 billion of us on this fucking floating rock that we call Earth, and you can do that. You can have that many people and still recover the damage that's been done. That was kind of cool to see. But I think working from home and school from home is definitely something that's going to happen more often.
Yeah, like I've already been told that at least my first semester of second year is going to be fully on, like 97% online. Like if there's like labs or like stuff that has to happen like in person, those will happen, but they'll just be more classes with less people in them and like staggered like throughout the week. But based like looking at my schedule, like odds are I'm going to be online at least all of first semester, which I'm kind of upset about, but like also not, because then it eliminates the commute. I can like crawl out of my bed and like sit at my desk and work like
in your underwear.
Theoretically, yep.
But Are you worried about missing the social aspect of going to university? Because I mean, I know that's a big part of the experience, right? People go to university, they're like, fuck yeah, this is fun. I get to meet a bunch of people, hot girls, all that kind of shit. So are you kind of like, that's lame. I don't get to go see the rest of like the next year until possibly halfway through.
Yeah, 100%. Like that's because I've been like online since like March. And the part that I've hated most about it is not being able to like actually see people. Cause like Zoom is not, it's not the same for like your college classes and like, but like often what I did do was like get on like Instagram video chat or something like that. And like talk to people through that. Like in addition to like being in a Zoom call, like for class, just like mute my microphone and just like have that going on the side just because it's it's just like more relaxed and free flowing than like, especially if like a teacher is just like droning on about an assignment that you're already like halfway done. So you just like that's been kind of nice to like just be able to like kind of tune out like and not like obviously be tuning out because you're not in person.
Fair enough. That's understandable.
But
so I forget, what are you going to school for?
Business marketing.
Interesting. What are you hoping to market? Are you going to market our friend Pablo here into a movie star?
Yeah, I don't know yet.
Deadpool's job. Take over Deadpool's job. Do a better job than that guy.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still like, what I've been thinking about recently is like finishing because it's a 2-year program that I'm in. Then the school that I'm at also has a like a TV production program that's also 2 years. So I'm thinking I might finish my business marketing program and then do that afterwards because it's at the same campus and like same area. But like every course like seems like so much fun and like right up my alley and stuff that I'm kind of already doing to some extent between like my YouTube channel, this podcast, like Instagram, that kind of stuff. So I think I'm gonna do that after after I'm done at the end of April.
Fair enough. Understandable. So, my friend, I would like to know, Mr. Pablo, your Deadpool, your outfit, the whole thing that you got going on there, is there another kind of cosplay that you want to go along to? Is there something else that you want to go work on in that realm? I'm kind of doing the whole comic book thing right now, so I'm nerding out when I to comic books. I'm learning stories because I was never a comic book kid. I never read a comic book in my goddamn life until I started doing what I'm doing now. So
there's a few that I want to. So my thing is, I'm a perfectionist, and if it doesn't come out, I'm going to be pissed that I put a lot of time and money. And mind you, making it yourself doesn't mean it's cheaper. It's like that Pinterest shit, right? All the stuff you can find around your house, and then you got to go spend $100 to get shit you should have around your house. So it's kind of like that. I end up finding that I spend way more money on making my own stuff than buying it from somebody. But the payoff is it fits you. It's what you want. Like it looks how you want. So that being said, a lot of it, like the armor and stuff, like on my shin guards and arm guards, it's actually made out of like craft foam. And you melt it, whatever, and harden it and paint it, blah, blah, blah. So I want to do, there's a series of Thor comics where Thor basically is king of Asgard, and he's a little older and, big old beard, big hair, and lots of armor. I want to do that. But my anxiety is like killing me and not allowing me to start it because I know that I won't be happy when I'm finished.
Fair.
Oh man, I think that'd be fantastic.
That'd be sick.
And I've also wanted to do the Dark Knight Returns version of Batman, basically kind of like what Ben Affleck looked like in the Justice League and the Batman. So that version, so Batman's always through most history been like skinny, lean guy, right? I'm 280 pounds. So I always connected to that big ass Batman that Frank Miller drew or that they try to portray in the movies. Yeah. And so I've always wanted to do that too, but that Batman's going to have a beard. So people are just going to have to fucking deal with it.
That's funny. Oh man. No, I think it's one thing I
right there.
Yeah.
God damn, what a beast he is.
Just a beast of a Batman.
He just fucking crush you like a cheap garbage can. He would. Like those old garbage cans they use in shitty pro wrestling where they hit the guy and it turns halfway in half and you're like, hey, touched his fucking forehead.
Yeah.
God damn, yeah, that dude, he's been pumping something for a while. Jesus Christ. My God, yeah, that's the one right there. That's the manly man. There he is. That's the Batman I grew up with.
Yeah, that's awesome.
There's in the comic, there's a line. So he's supposed to be the older, like retired Batman, and it's called Dark Knight Returns because Gotham goes to shit and he comes out of retirement. And there's a line where he first hits the streets again and he's fighting some guys and he stops mid-fight and pulls some aspirin out of his utility belt. And he says, "Damn it, I'm too old for this shit." And like I connected with that. That's what I connected with. I'm like, this is my Batman.
That's great.
Somebody showed me the other day an old comic book of like Wolverine when he's old, and he ends up getting the shit kicked out of him by these 3 Hulk kids that are Hulk's kids, but they're evil, and Hulk's like all old and fucked up. And I'm like, what is this? It's crazy. Yeah, man. That was really cool stuff.
There are, because the thing with comics is they got these different universes, right? So like everyone knows some comics to the extent, right? Everyone knows like Wolverine or Hulk, but they don't know there's like multiple universes. So like this Wolverine, his timeline looks like this, and this looks like this, and so comics can go any direction. So there's so much weird stuff, like off the beaten path. If like you want to get weird, comics are the way to get weird.
Yeah, that's what I like about doing comics, is you can totally go fucking weird places with it that you can't go with a normal story.
Right.
A comic book, you can give a little bit more of that visual aspect and do it in a different way, because nothing has to be the same. Nothing has to be
right.
Yeah, I love that about comics.
Well, with comics too, right? So like it's happened over and over. Like you get to a point where you have nothing left to do, or you want to do a new story. You're like, well, this is a new universe, same characters, different reality. So you just start over and do whatever you want again.
Yeah, they did that with the X-Men movies. Like after, I think it was X-Men: The Last Stand. Like the next one was like a different timeline, like way in the future or something like that. I haven't seen them in a while, but it's something along those lines.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. What they try to do is, people complain so much with the movies that they were so different, which again, I said earlier, like the movies are their own thing. So you can't expect it's going to be page for page a comic book, because like Scott said, you can do whatever with a comic book. You can't do it in reality. So they did what they could, but one of the movies, Days of Future Past, they basically tried to reset the movies so they could just start over.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
No, and like you're saying, like the movies are never quite, they're not the same thing. You know, that's usually what's said for any form of literature that's then put into a visual form. The book is never, the movie's never as good as the book, or the book isn't quite the same as the movie. Do you have a particular favorite superhero movie, even though they're not like 100% spot on?
So I love the Deadpool movies, clearly. I mean, I'm a big Deadpool fan in general, but I don't want to say it's because they're so accurate, but I think Ryan Reynolds, like when I read Deadpool, I think ever before Ryan Reynolds ever played the part, I think that's the voice I heard it in. And I relate to him a lot. Like when I read Deadpool movies, I'm like, man, or the comics, I'm like, man, that's so much like me, and I related to it. He's got a lot of mental issues, right? But he makes light of it. Like he's not going to let it get him down. But like there's some comics where he has this just really dark side, but then it goes away. And I've just felt so close to that. And he's just such a goofball. So I feel that Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool. I like the little hints to the comics, but they've done their own thing. So not because it's so accurate, but honestly, man, I tell everybody, you put my childhood on the screen, even if it sucks, I'll go see it 5 or 10 times. I don't give a shit. Like everyone hated the new Ninja Turtle movies. I'm like, it's the fucking Ninja Turtles in a movie. I'm going to go see it. I don't give a shit.
Totally. That's fucking hilarious. Yeah, no, I've been I haven't watched a whole lot of movies, unfortunately, in that aspect when it comes to superhero stuff, but I did watch the Deadpool movies. I've watched every single one of them, and I love how funny they are, how twisted they are in their own way. Like you said, it doesn't match up to the comic. The comic's definitely a little bit darker, has a little bit more stuff going on. But I mean, those movies are about as good as you can do for a movie.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of Marvel movies, Jordan, I don't know if you saw it, but Room Temp, who plays the Blue Viking in Captain Marvel, and he's also in like every Viking shown movie ever. Commented on Scott's post.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, we were talking about that. That's awesome.
Thank you, sir.
I mean, it's small, but I thought it was cool. I got the
100%.
notification, and I was like, "Oh shit! Oh shit! He looks."
Yeah, no. When you sent that to me, I was like, "Oh, like that's really nice. This guy's really nice. He's making a nice comment. That's really cool." And then you're like, "Guess who this is?" I'm like, "I got no fucking idea." And you told me, and I was like, "Oh shit!" And fucking, I almost puked right there. I was like, Oh,
yeah, that was cool.
That shit's hilarious. But yeah, no, I haven't seen a lot of them, but yeah, it's Deadpool definitely hits at home for me. Jordan, you got a favorite one? Do you got one that hits home for you that you're like, I love this superhero shit?
Iron Man.
Yeah.
Iron Man.
Yep, Iron Man and Wolverine. Those my top two, always have been, always will be.
Wow, that's some commitment right there. You said that with a little bit of passion in your voice. Oh, always will be. There's some deep love in that statement you just made.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So on your Wolverine, what are they going to do? So they're rebooting the movies. Clearly, they're moving over to Marvel MCU, right? So Wolverine's dead in the comic. Wolverine's dead in the movies. What's going to happen, Jordan?
I'm hoping they don't do what I think they're going to do, which is they're going to figure out some way to establish an alternate timeline where there's somebody else's Wolverine. And if they do that, I'm going to be so upset.
Okay, so what if they establish an alternate timeline and just bring back Hugh Jackman? He said Hugh Jackman said he wouldn't do Wolverine again unless he could team up with the Avengers. And shortly after he retired, Disney bought Fox, and now it can happen.
Oh shit! Why doesn't he want to do it again?
Well, because he's been doing it
for like 11 years.
Yeah, he's been doing it almost my entire life. Like the first movie came out in 2000. And then,
it's been a long time.
Yeah, the first X-Men movie was like 2001, I think, or 2000. Yeah, so he's been doing it a while. But if they figure out some way that he's in another timeline, a lot of people will be upset about it. I won't be one of them. I will be very excited about that because watching Logan, I was upset by that.
What upset you about that?
Well, have you not seen it?
Oh, I have. I just want to know what upset you about it. I like to hear things that make you upset too. Look at you. You haven't fucking seen this? You haven't seen this catastrophe of a movie? That right there, that's all I want to see.
Well, he dies at the end. And like I said, he's always been my favorite superhero. So seeing that was horrible. And it's such a horrible death too. And it's just, it was bad. So if they figure out some way that he's been chilling in an alternate timeline, by all means, please do.
Okay. So now your other favorite is also dead.
True. Yep. Damn it, Marvel.
So you pick some real winners.
Oh shit. Oh man, you're like that bad wife that can't keep a husband alive. How many times have you been married for? Oh shit, that's good. What happened to Ryan? Oh, Ryan got hit by a car. What happened to Todd? He also got hit by a car. Coincidence?
Oh man.
Oh man.
But yeah, although I have heard the other rumor that they might do for the X-Men is bring what's her name? Daphne Keane, I think, who plays X-23 in Logan. They're saying they're gonna
groom her up for it. Yeah. And I had saw some things. So before Disney bought them, I had saw some things that they were going to make her older. So they weren't going to use the same kid, but they were going to make her older and basically do like a Days of Future Past where she comes back from the future as an older Wolverine. Because in the comics, she replaces Wolverine. So, I mean, it would work. I just, for the time, I thought the little girl was a little too young to be thrown into like a full-on X-Men movie.
Yeah, totally.
But we'll see. I mean, now it's all changed because Disney bought them anyways. They may start over from scratch.
I hope not.
I'm not gonna lie.
That's
I got upset with Spider-Man.
Oh, really?
I've watched a few of them, but I'm just not a fan of these Spider-Man movies. Who the fuck is the guy that played Venom? And he's like the
Tom
same
Hardy.
guy from. No. In
You're talking about
Like,
Topher Grace in Spider-Man 3, the original,
oh, that
the
one.
old
Okay.
one.
yeah,
The
Right.
yeah, I
skinny.
think when I saw the guy who got fucking sucked up by venom and shit like that, I was like, isn't that the guy from that '70s show?
Yeah, that made me
that is
mad.
not the guy. I'm like, that is not the guy to be fucking Venom. Like, if you
Right.
grab The Rock, even though The Rock's not the dude either, I'd be like, that's like, okay, you at least got
Yeah.
somebody with a physique I can believe. Like,
Yeah.
something. That dude was not to be Venom.
No.
Tom Hardy is a fucking awesome Venom. I love that movie.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yep. I'm excited for the second one. I think it's gonna be really cool.
For
Is it
sure.
number 2? Ooh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Woody Harrelson's going to be Carnage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they teased it. They teased it right at the end of number 1.
Oh, I'm dumb and I missed it.
Yeah, and they're calling it "Let There Be Carnage," which is gonna be freaking awesome.
I'm gonna love that.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Those
sick.
are my 2 favorite supervillains of all time. I love Carnage because he's just fucking twisted. He's like that crazy dude. There's no crazier than I think he's the craziest.
Yeah. Oh,
Quite likely.
and it's being
Quite
apparently
likely.
it's apparently it's being directed by Andy Serkis. That's gonna be cool.
I wish I knew who that was.
That's have you? Oh,
I don't know. There we go. Palm face. Yes, I got one.
that's
Yeah, Jordan. I don't know shit. I barely know who Morgan Freeman is. I get him mixed up with fucking Gary Coleman all the time. I'm that dumb. I don't know shit, bro. I don't know shit.
You'll definitely
Now, if you
recognize
wanna-
him.
If you want to know who anybody on the UFC roster is, I'm your dude. I'll help you out.
No,
I can
yeah,
probably
that's
give-
where I can't help you. I don't know much
I
about
can
that.
probably
But
I can probably help you out with odds on a fight, but yeah, I don't know shit when it comes to movies.
yeah, so he plays the main ape in Planet of the Apes. He plays Gollum in Lord of the Rings. He's in Black Panther and
Yeah.
Avengers: Age of Ultron, and great in all those movies. Like, he's awesome.
Did you guys like Black Panther? I haven't
Oh.
seen it, but I heard mixed reviews when it came out. What did you guys think of it?
I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
actually.
I liked it. Yeah, I think it did like the most amount of money for like any Marvel movie like before Infinity War and Endgame came out.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. So I liked it, but a whole lot of people didn't for whatever
That was
reason.
pretty cool. I'm excited for the next one. They're supposed to do a lot of different stuff. They're talking about Beyonce being Storm as his wife in it.
Huh.
Oh, that would be cool.
Okay. Like Storm is in the X-Men?
Yeah, so Storm
Ooh.
marries Black Panther in the comics. Like they're
Really?
king and queen of Wakanda for a while. And so now that Disney got the rights back to the Fox stuff, they're talking about going that storyline and using Beyonce as Storm.
Ooh.
And I will not complain about that.
That would be cool.
I was gonna say the outfit they're gonna put on her. God damn.
Right?
Oh. Damn. There's not many women in this world I will get excited about. Beyonce, I will always get excited about her. There ain't nothing that woman can do wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. But yeah, I know that the Rock is supposed to play Black Adam. I don't know anything about Black Adam, so I was really excited to learn that about that whole thing. He said that he's been getting ready for that role for almost 12 years. They came to him almost 12 years ago and said that we want to do a Black Adam movie. We want you to be the guy.
Yeah.
And then he started his transformation into this fucking monstrous human being that he now is. Because when he was in pro wrestling, he did not look like that.
No. Mm-hmm. Well, he's actually smaller now, but he's just so damn lean all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, he looks fucking way bigger. He probably is a little bit leaner. That is how it works in bodybuilding.
I think it took building up some movies before they could throw out like Shazam, and then like Shazam had to be out. People had to know who Shazam was before they could introduce Black Adam.
I heard Shazam was really stupid and like not that good, but I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
It felt more like a Marvel movie, like where it's a little more comic-y. Really? Like it didn't to me fit the DCEU where they're like darker and grittier.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was a bad movie, but it doesn't like I don't see them throwing him into the Justice League anytime soon.
Okay.
My son watches Teen Titans all the time, and it just makes fucking fun of the Justice League every couple episodes. I love it, man. When Robin comes up to Batman, he's like, "I'm Batman," and then runs away and comes back later. He's like, "I'm Batman." Oh.
That's
So
funny.
that's one thing as a parent, I gotta say. The one thing as a parent that I don't like is cartoons. They're not what they were when I was growing up. There was character development. There was a storyline. Like as a kid, you're like, what happens this week when the episode's released? Now it's just craziness all over the place. I can't understand really what's going on. Have you found any TV shows to bond with your kids? Like I'm grateful that Disney Plus exists, but my kid he wants nothing to do with that. He's all about Teen Titans and weird new Ninja Turtles, like the weird shows these days. He loves, so I'm forced to watch them. But
I'll actually I'll dig out some YouTube videos of like the old stuff, like the original Ninja Turtles and and all that. And my daughter loves them. She has her own shows that she likes, but she's only 2.5, so she's watching a lot of learning shows and like younger stuff, right? But she'll come up to me and like I've got a couple of Ninja Turtle shirts, and I've got like one that's it's the logo, but instead of Teenage Mutant Ninja in the bar, it says I'm actually in my, and then instead of turtles, it says 30s, but it looks like the Ninja Turtle logo, right? So I got that one and a couple others, and my daughter will be like, "Oh, Ninja Turtles! I love that shirt, Daddy." And it's the original. I don't think she'd even recognize the new, like that you said your son watches the new like computer animated. I don't think that she would even recognize them. But she's 90% Frozen, so it's not the shows that I want to watch that I bond over. She drags me into it, and I can sing every line of every damn song in Frozen. It's just when I'm talking to the boys, they're like, "What'd you watch last night?" I'm like, "Oh, so we watched this sick movie about this Viking witch that has these ice powers, and she tries to kill her sister." And they're like, "You're talking about Frozen." I'm like, "You got it."
Oh shit!
But the fact that other people recognize it means they've also probably watched it. So like you're not alone.
Yeah, exactly.
They've done the same thing at some point. Somebody's talking. They're like, "Yeah, I watched this cool show about witch lady that does some crazy shit. It's Frozen, isn't it?" Yeah. Fucking yeah, that song. Thankfully, I don't know the song off by heart because I haven't heard it that much. So if it comes on, I'm like, "Oh, this is actually kind of catchy." And then I see everybody else around me wilt like a dead flower. And I'm like, "Oh, okay, it's Frozen."
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. When the first one came out, like my younger sister watched it like at least once a week. Like when she got it on DVD, like at least once a week, every week for like months. So I refuse to watch it again, like to this day.
I've become accustomed to it. I think mostly because my daughter will act out every scene, and I'm more watching her, and it just cracks me up. She'll like when the whole Let It Go comes on, and it's a scene where Elsa's building her ice palace, and my daughter like acts it out along with her, and she's like, "Let it go, let it go," and she's dancing around, and it's just I'm watching that more so. But Disney does a great job. They always throw that stuff in for the parents, right? And there's some things here and there, and it's a decent movie. The second one kind of sucked, in my opinion. They tried to turn it into an 80s rock opera. But
okay.
But it at least gave me another 2 hours to not just have the first one on a repeat.
I understand.
Fair.
Do you find that's pretty common with anything that they try and do a second one of? If they try and make a second movie, like Pirates of the Caribbean, the first one came out, everybody loved it. The second one came out, everybody wanted it to be set on fire and thrown into the toilet.
The second one was great.
I like the Pirates.
The cannibals and like so good.
For the most part, I like the Pirates movies. It's those movies that, for the most part, the movies where there's a long time between them. Like if it didn't set up a second movie, like if the movie said, it's like, all right, we got this great story we want to tell, and we can't get it done in one, so they leave it open for another at the end. But when the movie's concluded, those are the movies, in my opinion, that suck. I call them money grabs. They literally just put it out to make money.
Okay,
fair enough.
And
like, what are some examples that come to mind?
Would you say Avatar is a good one?
Is there a second Avatar already?
There's 5 more coming out.
Oh, okay, that's right. There's more. I think that's going to be one of them, but I don't know. Graphics have evolved enough. Maybe they can
Mhm.
add something to the story, but it kind of seemed like it was finished when it was done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the feeling I got too.
The Jurassic Park movies are kind of, I mean, there's no storyline in general though, right? But they just keep fucking up and letting dinosaurs go. That one, the
Yep.
only thing they're doing is the dinosaurs look more real, and I like Chris Pratt, so
Yeah,
I
for
mean, I'll
sure.
watch them, but there's no need to have those movies.
Yeah, now they're just giving the dinosaurs like semi superpowers to like
Right?
camouflage and shit. And you're like, oh,
Yeah,
okay, that's fucked up,
yeah,
but whatever.
exactly.
Yeah.
What are, and there's some others. I can't even think of them off the top of my head right now, but like Godfather 2 or
Okay.
Godfather 3 for crying out loud. Like those were unnecessary. And Scorsese doesn't make short movies. So it's like, all
Mhm.
right, I'm going to have to see this and I'm going to commit 4 hours of my life to this movie.
Yep.
Yes.
And then it blows ass.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I watched The Irishman shortly after it came out,
I
and
couldn't finish it.
yeah, so I finished it, but it took me like it had to have been a week to like get through the
Yeah.
whole, because I just didn't have time to like, because I was still in school at that point. And so like I would watch for a bit and then pause it to like do schoolwork. And then yeah, like it took me like at least a week to finish the whole thing because it was so long.
Yeah. And from what I was seeing and what buddies were saying, it was just like unnecessary. Like
Mm-hmm.
they're just adding stuff that you really didn't need.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
that's why I stopped watching it. I think I got like an hour and a half into it and realized that I wasn't even close to halfway. And I was like, this hasn't gotten anywhere yet. I still don't
Yeah.
even know the main character, anything about the main character other than he's a driver. Like, I don't,
Yeah.
where's this going?
Yeah, like I would watch it and then just like lose interest after a bit and just like go on my phone because
Yeah.
it's so slow, and it's beautifully shot and like looks really good and like the story is cool, but like it's too long.
Yeah.
Fuck, man. I think if you put 2 hours into anything, you need to know more about the person than just the driver. I fucking
Yeah.
lose my mind.
Yeah. And that's pretty much all you get is it's
Mhm.
supposed to be this mob hitman or like, muscle. And he starts telling you his story from the nursing home. So most of the movie's flashback.
Yeah.
And you really just find out that he's just driving for Al Pacino and like, okay, so
Yep.
all right,
So
we're in the
accurate.
car again. Here we go. We're gonna drive again.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's hilarious. Can you imagine a girl goes out on a date with a guy and she's like, so tell me a little bit about yourself. He's like, yeah, I drive. And that's about all she learned.
That's it.
The date ends, she's like, I told them like where my mother lives, like my sign, like where I grew up, my family. Fuck, this guy's not interested in me at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's watching The Irishman in a nutshell.
Oh, fuck, that's funny, man.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I've
Well,
seen
I
it
have
once
to
and
ask.
only once.
Well, I have to ask both of you gentlemen, if you could play a superhero movie character, who would you like to play?
To play.
Yeah, if you could play somebody, not to have somebody play you, but they come
Right,
to
right.
you. They go,
Right.
here's the costume. We want you to be this guy. Who do you want that guy to be that you are?
Man, that's a tough one. There's a lot, but honestly, my very first love, day one, the boy in blue. I would never be able to turn down Superman.
Oh shit, you're going about as retro as you can go. I love it.
That was I've got pictures. I'll post them. I'll find them and I'll post them one day. I've got pictures from the time I was 2 years old. My mom could not get me out of this Superman costume. And I would jump off couches. I was Superman. Like I saw the Christopher Reeves movie, and there was no doubt in my mind I was growing up to be Superman. Time taught me differently, but at that time, I was Superman.
Oh, what about you, Jordan? Who do you want to be?
Ooh, Iron Man for sure. Tony Stark.
Iron
And
Man.
actually, yeah, and so I work at a summer camp during the summer, and I was able to. I'm pulling up a picture. That's why I'm kind of distracted right now. But so we had during the summer, I was able to convince the program team to let me run an activity like as Iron Man. So I think because the site that I work at is like 5 to 10-year-olds, so it's little kids. So we did we got these toy trucks and put cardboard on them and we were teching them out for Tony Stark. And so I had I had like a nice shirt on, and like I had my beard like trimmed exactly like his, and like we started the activity. I like came out like in the full outfit, like with the Avengers music playing, and oh, so much fun.
I had a feeling you have a boner while you're telling me this story.
No. So much fun though. Like, so good.
I interrupted you though. Go ahead, Pablo. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just going to ask Jordan. So is it Tony Stark that you love or Iron Man, or are they one and the same?
One and the same, for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah. Like, at least in the movies, you can't have one without the other.
That's true. But I've always felt like there's still a duplicity. Like he's much more reckless as Tony Stark, right? Like
For
he's
sure.
a womanizer, drinker, and whatnot.
Yep.
And I feel like he finds his responsibility. I mean, he's still reckless, but I feel like he's a different person as Iron Man.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of love Tony Stark.
Yeah. Yeah, fair. Yeah.
I love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to go with Peter Parker. Peter Parker would be me. I'd be Spider-Man, but I wouldn't want, like when he goes into the alternate universe and he finds all the other versions of Spider-Man. I'd want to be the metal one. I don't know why. I just want to be. I think his suit looks the coolest. I like it. I don't know who's under that suit, but I'm gonna be under that suit. That's my philosophy.
So have you seen like the newer Spider-Man movies with Tom Holland?
No, because I wish I could say I knew who Tom Holland was.
Oh, well.
The Spider-Man in the most recent movies.
Well, yes. Yeah, no, I haven't seen any of the newer stuff. In all honesty, man, I've been watching so much Vikings and Northmen, Last Kingdom. I can't really remember the last time I watched something that wasn't medieval. Because now if I go to anything else that is, it doesn't really live up to my standard of, I don't know, fuck you in it. Like that when there's that sign of that dude, like when somebody gets stabbed because they betrayed somebody.
Yeah.
Oh God, it's never as good as it is in a medieval movie. Because there's no fucks given. There's no security camera. There's no cops. It's just pure raw evil. I'm gonna kill you because you made me mad. I just love that shit. It's my favorite.
Yeah.
So on that note, though, so Vikings were known to be very vain. They loved their jewelry. They loved, bleaching their hair, right? Like they were super vain. They were violent as fuck, but super vain. Yeah. Imagine, and maybe we should do this. Maybe we should get everyone to do it for like a week. Imagine Viking age Instagram and like the vanity that would come through, the vanity and violence of a Viking age Instagram.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Just
10,000 selfies and swords and axes.
Right, like holding a bloody head, just
totally, just sitting there and being like,
Scott's just like at that table with like that, and the table's just like covered in like human limbs.
Right,
totally.
Just like a whole Instagram series, just different angles of him.
Doing like a tutorial on a blood eagle. All right, guys.
All right.
Me and Sven are here today. We're going to do a blood eagle.
First, you need to take your axe and you need to chop away the skin. Just get that right out of the way. It's just right in the way. So fuck that stuff. And then you're going to get to the meat. Now, the meat's where you really got to, that'd be fucking.
That'd be
it's incredible. Like, I remember watching Norseman, and there's a part in there where I think Orm, he walks up to his girl and he's just like, don't you think that's a little bit rude that you have all them dicks around your neck? And she's like, oh, I just keep them as like a souvenir because like, they're pretty fucking awesome. He's like, yeah, but that might make some other people feel, a little bit inferior and not masculine. Just violent human beings. I love them. Gives the girl a ring that's made out of his foreskin or something like that later on. It's like, oh, god damn, man.
Oh, no. No, but I think that would be hilarious. Just get
Now, a question that I've asked Jordan before, but I want to ask you. I know that there's a bunch of places in the world that you'd like to go visit. You've mentioned a few of them, New Zealand, and you'd like to go all over and travel a little bit. But is there an age, if you could go back in an age, what time would you live in? Would you like to be a Viking? Would you like to be a part of the Roman Empire? Is there a certain spot in time you'd like to place yourself?
That's tough. I was actually just talking to someone about that the other day. It's the Middle Ages or medieval times, Viking Age would definitely be. It was Jay Algier. He's part of our group. I don't know if you guys follow him too much, but he had posted a question like when and where. So, because that'd be tough. I'd love to see the Middle Ages, but I can't say I want to be in one spot. But if I had to pick one time, one spot, probably Viking Age York, where it was kind of like, right, there's like the New York of the Viking Age, like everything happened there. And that'd be pretty cool. But I'm also a sucker for the Wild West.
Cool.
But I think when I was thinking about it, I think it's when, not to sound too sexist by any means, but when men could be men. Anytime where a man can be a man, right? Like you said, if someone pisses you off, you end their life. You cancel. That's it.
Like, you just delete them. Just fucking delete them.
Just, you know, and you didn't have to worry about, like, now you can't even say something crosswise to somebody without them getting butthurt and getting a lawsuit. So I think any time where people were just primal and it's like, this is how we're going to handle it, or you're going to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I miss that in a lot of ways. Like, there's a difference between just being a straight up asshole, just being a dick. There's a difference between that and being a man that just, you know, you live by a code, you live by certain rules, your morals, that kind of thing, and you go by those. I miss those old days. It seems like you're saying, you can't call somebody a goddamn name without a lawsuit being thrown at you, them being butthurt. Next thing you know, they delete you off Instagram, or they, you know, you're like, holy shit, man. I had a guy ask me the other day, I mean, bless his soul. He asked us if he could be on the podcast. I just asked him if he could, you know, do a little bit more building, because he looked relatively new. He was claiming to be a tattoo artist, but there was no work on his page. And I just said, like, build your brand a little bit. Show us kind of like who you are a little bit more. And man, that guy got me blocked so fucking quick. It was hilarious. I couldn't go back to be like, hey man, like, I'd like to see some of your art. Like, I couldn't even get to him that fast.
Wow.
Yikes.
Yeah, it was interesting. Yeah. Do you think that that's something that the world needs a little bit more? Like, do you think the world is going to at some point go back to that? My parents always used to say it's a pendulum that swings.
Yeah,
and
I've heard that.
The pendulum has gone far too far this way, and it's, you know, going to come back at some point. Do you think when it comes back, it's going to be more of men being men? Women might have, you know, more of the equality that they're looking for. They're treated as individuals and all that kind of stuff. There's not like a pay gap or whatever going on. And even a lot of the things that go under the table or radar that we're not aware of. But do you think that's what's going to happen? Eventually men can be men, women can be women, and we'll all just be people.
Right. You know, and that's what you want to hope. But like, it feels like, and you can even look throughout time, like this happened, there's a reaction, then it went back to this way. I don't ever feel like you fall back. It's the kind of that 2 steps forward, 1 step back, right? So, but I feel like we're about 10 steps forward now. And everyone just gets butthurt over everything. Like, I don't know if we can ever make it back to that. And I want what you said. I don't necessarily want to go back to where it's the Wild West and women having their rights and any ethnicity doesn't have rights. I just want everyone to be fucking normal. If I'm going to hate you, it's because you're an asshole. That's the only reason, right? You know, there's assholes of every shape, color, and uniform, and I'll hate you for being an asshole, and that's the only reason. But I don't know. It just seems like things keep getting pushed. I don't think we're going to see it in our lifetime. We'll see change, but I don't think we'll see it get back to what it should be. Or not necessarily back, but get to what it should be. The best of the past with the best of what's to come.
Yeah, that would be a good thing to see, the two colliding. But, you know, going off a little bit of a different beaten path here, one thing that my dad is a huge alien buff. He talks about aliens all the time. And he came up to me the other day and he goes, I think you might see aliens at some point in your lifetime. Like, they might come out and tell you everything that's going on. I'm like, I'm not so sure about that one, Paul, but, you know, we're going to dream. What do you think? Because Jordan and I talked about this just, I think it was last night or about a week ago.
Yeah.
Canada was releasing. They got UFOs that are now
Right.
real. But they and
wasn't
then
it?
One of
Wasn't it the FBI?
I don't know.
It was. It was.
Yeah.
It was. The Pentagon released the
Pentagon,
videos
yeah.
of the.
Mm-hmm.
They're not saying they know where they're from. That they just don't know where they're from.
Yeah, and then China
Yeah.
came out a little bit recently and said that they were talking about UFOs and everything like that. And I was like, oh shit, this is crazy. And it's apparently being talked about on the news just for like a minute and then
Right.
go away and pretend they never talked about it. What do you think? I like to stir the pot a little bit. Jordan asked me if he thinks the moon landing was real today, which is fucking awesome. What do you think? Do you think there's something on the other side of the moon? You think they're living amongst us? Do you think it's a fucking joke? Because I mean, I don't know. I wish I knew, but I don't.
I think there's so much that we don't know that it's hard to say that they don't or they do. And I think it's more likely that there are other. I mean, they found bacteria on Mars, right? So
yeah, they did.
I mean, it's not like it's a sentient being, but it's life, and it could mean that there was or could have been at one point life, or could be. It's got to be the same. They've said they found like 4 or 5 other planets that are almost identical to Earth, which would be hard to say that they don't have life.
Totally.
But
yeah, especially if they're close to identical.
Right. And I watched the not like that I'm terribly into it and I believe everything is gospel, but I watched some of the ancient alien stuff, like the ship aliens and but they bring up really neat topics, right? So like before the world had civilization, and before as civilizations were starting, different places in the world had no ways of communication, yet they had similar gods and like similar structures that they shouldn't have been able to build at the time.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that suggest like there was some help somewhere along the lines. And with the whole, and just like thinking down that line, like if I'm trying to push myself outside of the box, they don't have the missing link, right? Like how did humans come from apes? Like they're so close, but what's the difference? And it's like, well, what if aliens kind of like crossbreeded and like made us? I'm not saying that's the truth, but it could be an answer that like it was kind of a hybrid between what was here and what they were. And you always hear that, you know, God made us in his image, the Prometheus, the Aliens franchise movie. And they suggest that aliens made humans. And it's an interesting thought. I mean, I don't know enough to say it is true that it's not.
That's hilarious.
But I think I think the government bringing up the aliens thing though right now, it's like shit. There's a lot of bad shit going on. How do we distract them? Give them something. Give them anything.
Give them something to distract them. Aliens. Fuck, it works.
Yeah. But then like nobody talked about it. It just kind of like was on the news for a second and then was gone.
Well, murder hornets.
Yep.
I saw a meme the other day that said, what if everything happening right now is because a time traveler is trying to come back and fix 2020?
Yep, I heard that.
And then something worse happens when they try and change the timeline.
I
is
saw that.
Why like every month or 2 months something horrible happens?
Yeah.
They keep trying to come back. They're like, fuck.
Try again next month.
Shit, that'd be funny.
Yeah.
I always thought that aliens would like come down and they'd probably like if they did make us, it was more of like a practical joke. They're like, fuck, monkeys aren't very entertaining. Let's put some of our DNA in them and see what happens. And they kind of turn into us and they're like, oh shit, well let's see what happens here. And every now and again they just fly down in their flying saucer all drunk, or maybe they're smoking pot or doing whatever. And they're just like, look at these fucking guys. They're blowing each other up because they have different eye color.
I mean, we're not from the scientist aliens. We're like the fuck monkeys like us that came down. And we're like, yo, don't tell anyone we're doing this. Let's try it here.
You didn't tell your mom where we're going tonight, right? No, you didn't tell her either, right? You stole your dad's flying saucer? Fuck yeah, dude. Let's do this.
Oh, man.
Oh, shit.
That's amazing.
That's fucking funny. But it's like kind of what you mentioned when it goes back to the bodybuilding. Like the new kids that are on the bodybuilding scene, like they have physiques and genetics that like we could only dream of when things were just starting for us. It's kind of crazy to see how things have evolved, and it's happening so quickly that it definitely kind of leaves the door open that there was some help along the way that maybe somebody came in and intervened at some point and did a little bit of scientific magic there. But like you said, who the hell knows? I always thought it a little bit interesting that they went to the moon, but as far as I know, please correct me if I'm wrong,
I don't think they've gone back.
I don't think they've gone back.
No.
Which is the interesting part, because if you could go and do it once, it's like most people, you don't just do something once and never do it again.
Right.
It's usually something you dabble in here and there, and then you go, I don't like this, or I love this, or whatever, a mixture of the two. But they just went one time and they're like, yeah, no, I'm good. And that only ever happened when I fucked a fat chick. So I don't know.
Yeah, well, they're talking about trying to get back, and there's all this work to it. It's been 50 years now, I think. 50 or 60 years.
Like that.
And it's like President Kennedy said, we're going to the fucking moon, figure out a way this year. And for the last 50 years, you're like, how the fuck do we get back? Like, I don't know. They figured it out in the 60s, and they didn't have half the shit we have now. The president said, get your ass up there, and they did.
Yeah. Like, I think I heard something about, like, the supercomputer that, like, controlled the like, was, like, in control for the original moon landing, had, like 2 megabytes of memory or something like that. Like, something
it's ridiculous. And it took up an entire acre of a building.
Yeah.
Damn, man, I got 64 fucking gigabytes in my phone or whatever it is.
Right?
Yeah. My phone is 128 expandable up to 1 terabyte. Which is just ridiculous. Yeah, it's a machine.
I remember the old brick cell phones. Those were fucking crazy.
Right?
But yeah, I kind of wonder why they never went back to the moon. And then, you mentioned Ancient Aliens. I watched an Ancient Aliens not long ago, and there's something on the dark side of the moon.
Right.
Like, oh shit, is that where they've been hiding? They're just like on the other side of the coin. They're like, don't look over here.
As we walk to the moon, they're just like scooting to the other side.
They're like, oh shit, get in the shade.
Like I hear some Scooby-Doo music in the background.
For sure.
Oh, man. Yeah, no, that would be pretty cool though. If something did come out in our lifetime, that would be kind of neat. I wonder if like maybe our kids will see it or something like that. If there is something out there, I don't know. I'm pretty interested in the whole thing, and I feel like the older I get, the more interested I get in it. I don't know if it's because I smoke a copious amount of weed, or if it's just because I like Ancient Aliens every now and again.
Oh man!
Yeah, my brother is legitimately working on becoming an astronaut, right?
Same with my cousin. Yeah.
And so I put in my request for buddy passes already.
Nice.
Amazing.
I wonder if you'd have to do any training for the buddy passes, because being an astronaut takes quite the amount of training, I understand. I wonder if they have like a crash course here. We'll get you ready in 2 weeks. Hope to God you survive.
Right?
Oh. I couldn't imagine being shot off the planet towards the moon. That would just be such an outer world experience.
Literally. Yeah.
Yeah. Literally. Something comes along and bumps the rocket ship. Next thing you know, you're not going to the moon. You're like, where are we going? I don't know. Let's see what's over in this direction.
Right.
Yeah. No, like I always think like there's so many planets. Like I feel like it's almost impossible that there's nothing else on like any of the other planets that are like in our system, or like any of the other systems that there are. Like it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no, there'd have to be something.
Yeah,
I would imagine there'd have to be something, at least a fucked up looking bird.
Something, right? Hell, even a plant would be huge news.
Yeah, true.
Huge.
Yeah, something. Yeah.
I wonder if we could talk to it.
What if we could smoke it?
Oh,
I got him. There he is.
Yep, Scott's excited.
We would like to announce that we have brought back the very first alien species plant of some kind. We don't know what the fuck it does, but we're hoping that we can do some. No, don't smoke it, Scott.
Scott like steals it, starts like rolling it up, like.
There's just gonna be a colonel sitting there just shaking his head. I told them not to let him on the site.
It's gonna be me. I'm just gonna be sitting there like, why would you let him in here? Ooh, that'd be a funny skit. Scott goes to space.
God bless fucking Chad in our group there. He always talks to me about space weed and stuff like that. We joke about it all the time. I believe he's in Florida too, so I always make jokes about how I went and I raided the weed store, and then he's like, "Hey, I went and raided the weed store," and I'm like, "Yeah."
That's amazing. I think there's two stores being opened like within 10 minutes of my house.
Interesting.
Which is very interesting.
It is. I do find it interesting how that became a very quick way of life. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Have you seen much go on down in Florida as of late? Or was it a big change for you guys when it came in and it became legalized?
Oh.
No.
Audio's not on.
No, that's okay. That's quite all right.
Can't hear you.
Do you? That's all right, man. Technical difficulties are a name of the game when it comes to podcasting.
Mm-hmm. Ain't that the truth?
Well, it's like what was going on in your video the other day. You were doing something
today,
and you're like, dude, look at this 6-minute part where it just speeds up ridiculously for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's like,
and like skips the audio, and it's like,
that's hilarious.
Yeah, I don't know why I did that. Like, I was so confused. What is going on?
How are we doing now?
There you are.
I forgot what my question was.
You had asked me how the weed's going down in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How is the how was it for Florida when everything happened? It became legal, and did it quickly become? Did everything change down there? Was it like, oh, this is fucking great, or was it like just continued on as normal?
It's not that big of a deal yet because it's still just prescription only, and they're still pretty regulated. And they're
okay.
There's only a few things that they'll give it to you for. I mean, it's, but we're not talking about like dispensaries or anything yet. Or being over the counter. So it takes a good bit, and it's not recreational. So like you'll still get, open or whatever they call it. It's not open container, but like you get a ticket here for having beer outside. But so like, you can have weed outside either. So you got to be in your home, like locked up. So not a whole lot's changed, and they make it pretty difficult. They're trying to push through again to get it a little more lenient, but it's still pretty boring versus like a Colorado or California where you can do whatever you want at the groceries.
Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, up here, I can literally drive down the road to a gas station and buy it and go back home, and nobody even looks. Yeah, it's the best thing ever. Which is,
I can hear it too, but I can get a ticket for it.
Yeah, well, that's the weird thing up here is like we have government stores where you can buy from the government, and then you have like weed stores that are not supposed to be there, but they don't talk about it. They just leave them there. And it's a weird thing. If you go to the government store, it costs significantly more money than if you go to one of these other stores.
Yeah.
But the weird thing about the other stores is they have better weed than the government stores.
Yeah, I've heard that. Well, like at least in Ontario, I know the government's like working with like cannabis companies, like in partnership and like giving them like licenses to like run their own stores, but like they're like government like endorsed, and like on like the government like weed website, like they have like a list of stores that's like has all like the proper things that they need, and like everything's all like licensed out properly. So it's kind of like more like normal stores are opening up, but for a while it's just been like the Ontario government running a website.
Weird. Yeah, BC is so free over here. It flows like water. Literally, you can go almost anywhere. It's everywhere now. But man, Jordan, I know you had some questions for our friend that you were working on today. Is there any of those that you want to rattle off, my friend? I always enjoy Jordan's questions when it comes to this point.
Yeah, let me just pull them up here.
Let's see what you got, brother.
So I usually start with this question, or it gets injected somewhere like in the early going. What's your most used Beard Struggle product?
Actually, probably the Viking Shield, the heat protectant spray.
Okay.
Reason being, I don't have the beard brush. I have a couple of heated brush, but I didn't buy the Beard Struggle one yet.
Okay.
But so typically, I can usually maintain it every day. I only wash my beard every couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
So between, I use a round brush and a blow dryer.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I make sure I put on the heat shield even before the blow dryer just to not dry.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be a couple of times a day. So I'm doing the oil, I'm doing the foam and all of that, but I probably use the heat shield the most periodically.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Or if it's so humid, the beard will turn into like a fro, like instantly.
Totally.
Okay.
It also helps you
Interesting.
keep it down.
Okay.
Yeah, my beard it froze right out, just like you're saying. I'd have the same issue. It gets all beastly and manly, and it's hard to deal with.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah, Scott, what's one for you?
I'm a huge fan of my daytime oil, but you know, I've been skipping out on the nighttime oil a little bit more often than I would like. So it's building up a little bit. I have a little bit of extra laying around. So I've been using that a bit more often, and now I'm starting to find I'm more of a night oil guy. I like it because it's not the same formula, right? The daytime is a little bit thicker, it has a little bit more into it.
Yeah.
Whereas the nighttime it's cut a bit differently, so it's more of keeping the moisture in there as opposed to applying the moisture. So the nighttime oil is probably the one that I'm going for.
Nice. Yeah, I gotta go. I always say like either the beard oil or the beard wash and conditioner, because like the beard wash and conditioner, that was the first product that I bought, so that always has like a special place in my heart, like among all the beard Struggle products. it's what I started with, Viking Honor beard wash and conditioner, and now I have because I got the Viking Honor Ultimate Beard Care Kit for my second order, and then now I have the Ragnarok Finale wash and conditioner and the
buddy, Ragnarok.
Yep. Yeah, so good. And then the Viking Storm wash and conditioner, because that's just incredible. But Ragnarok, I think, is the next beard oil scent that I'm trying.
Very nice. I have to give that one a try. I haven't tried it yet. I keep hearing such good things about it. Smoky. It's got like a smoky, like campfire smell to it. Ooh.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah, and like I think it was a couple days ago. I was like out for a walk in my neighborhood, and I smelled somebody smoking a cigar, and I was like, "That smells like Ragnarok Finale." very, very similar. I was like, "Oh, it smells nice."
That's funny. That's hilarious.
Next one. What's one of your favorite movie series?
Movie series. One of my favorites. Realistically, there's only two into it, but Deadpool so far. I'll watch those until I die. But more classic Rocky movies, man. I could put those Rocky movies on.
Nice.
So good.
Not a big fan of Rocky 5 or the newer ones as of late.
Yeah.
Those fall in that classification. I said it's kind of like trying to get some money.
Yeah.
But Rocky 1 through 4, absolutely. I could watch any one of those at a given time.
For sure.
Those are great movies. I absolutely love them.
Yeah, I need to watch those again. I haven't watched them in a while.
Yeah, and then for myself, as far as movie series, I gotta say I'm really getting behind. Fuck, what's the name of it? It's just escaping me right now. That old goofy kids movie, Madagascar. I've been getting into that lately with my kid. I love that series of movie. How like at first they're like, oh, we're zoo animals and we're stuck and this is kind of, this is lame. Then they go to the jungle and they get to the jungle and they're like, fuck, I miss the city. And they try and go back to the city. I love it. Just the whole back and forth. Everything is pretty funny.
For sure. Yeah, and then for me, I gotta go Lord of the Rings. Like, I've read the books, like, I don't even know how many times. I've seen the movie. Like, I watched the extended editions of all three of them in one day.
Damn.
Yes, that's it. It's a mission. Like, I think it takes around like 12, 13 hours to do. It's a serious commitment to make. Like, trying to watch them all in one day.
What do you have to do to wake up your ass cheeks after sitting for that? Jesus Christ.
I mean, it's about the same as watching The Irishman, though. So
Yeah, facts. Except Lord of the Rings is way more interesting.
right.
So true.
Yep.
What's the next one there, my man?
Yeah. What's one of your favorite genres of music?
Oh yes.
So I'm pretty eclectic, but my music I can go to at any point in time is 90s alternative and grunge, like your Nirvana, Pearl Jam,
Yep.
anything from that time. But I think that's when I really found music. So so like whenever you found music is kind of always going to be your first love.
Yeah.
But I'm into metal, like a lot of Viking metal and stuff. I've got a lot of
cool.
Amon Amarth and Let Them Fall and a lot of other like Scandinavian bands on my playlist and stuff. But I can always go back to 90s alternative and grunge.
Nice. That's cool.
That's super cool. Jordan, you go.
All right. Yeah, I also have a very eclectic taste in music. But yeah, I gotta go like 80s, 90s rock would definitely be one of them. And then like I listen to rap from like all different eras. So those would be my like main go-tos for sure.
Interesting. See, I wish I could say that I had something like you gentlemen, but I found music. I found music at different weird times in my life. If we're talking like Scott growing up being naive and doesn't understand what the word sex means yet because he's too young, like Backstreet Boys, fucking, I loved those dudes. I would listen to boy bands forever. I even dyed my hair blonde. I was like, I want to be Aaron Carter's older brother. Like I couldn't fucking remember. I couldn't remember his name. But I just remember women were literally just throwing themselves at these dudes. I'm like, I want that. So that's what I was like, I'm gonna be whatever that is to get that.
Yeah.
But now that I'm older, I kind of found music because I didn't really listen to music growing up. I listened to a lot of interviews, podcasts, skits, stuff like that. I didn't really enjoy music too much. Now it's a shit mix of all kinds of stuff. But honestly, like I kind of like that techno-y, dancey vibe, but it needs to have a little bit more of the song into it. It can't just be you can't. I need more than that. I gotta have a little bit more than that.
Yeah. What about that other song that you've mentioned before on the podcast a few times that has a great story to go along with it?
The unicorn one?
Yep.
Is it the unicorn one? Yeah, that's a good story. I do love that song. That song does have a special place in my heart. You had that queued up, you bastard.
Yeah, that's what's called a leading question.
Yes, that song there, Unicorn in C Major, I found when I was probably 14 or 13. And me and my friend were just fucking around on the internet and found something called collegehumor.com. And there's all kinds of funny skits on there. One particular one was about a dude raping other dudes. And he was, the way they found him was because he was going across campus with a big backpack full of big black dildos. And security pulled him over. And they're like, dude, what are you doing? Like, this is like the ultimate rape kit for naive young dudes. You have a GameCube, Axe body spray, Diet Coca-Cola, and a giant black dildo. And it fucking killed me. So, but those same guys made that song, and it's all about having sex with the unicorn. It's an amazing song.
Magical, it sounds.
Yes, they mention that several times in the song, that it's quite a magical place. And when I was getting married, I had a couple of bridesmaids that clearly had nothing to do with my whatever, they were interesting characters. And I came out of my room the next morning. There's wine all over the floor. My counter's all fucked up. My furniture has wine stains on it. I think somebody puked on and part of my deck and the floor and just didn't clean it up. And I was like, this is just gross. And I'm getting married in like 6 hours. So while they're all passed out, I put my phone on repeat and I put on Unicorn in C Major. I'm fucking a unicorn. I'm fucking a unicorn. And next thing you know, these bitches wake up a couple hours later and they're like, I do not remember anything from last night except somebody tried to fuck a unicorn. It's
man.
still a conversation amongst my family to this day. Do you still listen to that, Scott? I do listen to that song. Still, yes. Absolutely.
Oh man.
Oh.
So good. All right, let's pull up another question here. Ooh, what's one of your favorite meals, or like foods in general?
Oh, that's a tough one because I just like food. I am not picky. Go-tos are probably pizza with as much shit on it as you can put on it.
Okay.
Chimichangas, Mexican food in general, but I love chimichangas. Take a burrito, make it more unhealthy by deep frying it. That's for me.
Amazing.
Damn. So good.
Scott, what about you?
I just want to be fat again. Yeah, pizza. Pizza for me is a hard one to beat, man. Like hamburgers has never really been a favorite. Hot dogs, okay. I can get like hamburgers I can do, but I probably won't order it if I go to a restaurant. Same with wraps, sandwiches. Fair. I like all that stuff. But pizza, and like our guest is saying, I have to have that shit loaded up thick. I hate that shit worse than people that steal money from their country.
Those aren't our kind of people.
Those aren't our kind of people. Pineapple goes good on pizza.
Fair enough.
What about you, Jordan? First of all, I need to know, do you eat pineapple on your pizza?
Never have.
You son of a bitch.
So I've
you tell me that's not the most delicious shit you've ever eaten.
Yeah, if you do that, I'll order it tomorrow and then eat it on the podcast with Mensky.
Oh God.
Live taste test.
Jesus Christ. What about you, Jordan? What's some of your food that you can't go without?
Yeah, I gotta follow the crowd on this one and go pizza. Like it's I'm a sucker for it. But then also I'm quarter Italian, so like any kind of pasta, like you got me.
Fair enough, man. I get that.
Yeah. Unhealthy foods, but so good.
So good.
All right. Oh yeah. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would you want to live?
Like permanently, like the whole Instagram post, you get $10 million and you can't use Instagram or move anywhere else, or like, are we talking temporary?
Let's go temporary this time, because usually when I ask this question, it's permanent. But say somewhere you had to go vacation for a month. Where would you go?
I'd check out Brisbane or Sydney in Australia.
Ooh, cool. Yeah.
Those are good spots. Those are definitely good spots.
Yeah, I have friends who are living there right now. Yeah, it seems like a cool spot for sure.
What is it about Australia that draws you to that area?
Crocodile Dundee.
Fair.
No movie. I saw that movie when I was a kid, and I was like, I think I want to go there. Did a book report, not a book report, but like a social studies report on Australia when I was like, 10 or something. Ever since, I just felt like I needed to go there.
I get it, man. I totally get that. I'd like to go back to Tokyo. That was a cool spot. Yeah, if I could go back, I think if I could go back for a month, that would be ideal. I'd like to go back and just see what's changed. When I went over there, it was like a real futuristic place. And it was really fucked up how when you got off the plane, you're like, I'm going to go up to this vending machine and get a Coca-Cola. You fucking run up to the machine, and next thing you know, you pop in your money and this little pod pops out, and you're like, huh, what's in this pod? You open up this pod, and it's women's underwear. And you're like, what the fuck?
I expected you were going to say.
I was like, holy shit, man, I'm 11. Why is this lady selling her underwear out of a vending machine? My chaperone's like, give me those. I'm like, oh, take them, fuck, whatever.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, man, it was weird. What about you, Jordan? Where would you go?
I've always wanted to visit Jamaica, because like I've always listened to reggae music, and like seems like a really cool place to visit. Really nice, like yeah. And Bob Marley, gotta go see the Bob Marley Museum for sure.
There's a Bob Marley Museum? Fuck, sign me up and take me with you.
Bet. Hold up. I'll show you. But yeah, 100%. Oh, that would be hilarious. The Moose Bros visit the Bob Marley Museum.
Only if Pablo comes with us.
That'd be amazing. Yeah, he can keep us alive because like I'm gonna be chasing you around, like trying to keep you from like fighting with the locals and like.
Here, huh? Dude, he was pretty.
But I saw it was smoky and whatnot. I knew my wife would love it. She grew up in the country, bonfires and whatnot. So I knew it'd have her all up in my face all the time. Better for work. So, and she loves it. So I'm digging it. The Ragnarok. It's also like the most. So, I think Storm's one of the pricier ones too.
I think Storm is silver line and Ragnarok Finale is the gold line. I'm pretty sure.
Storm is definitely one of my favorite ones because, you know, it's like a high quality men's cologne almost for your face.
Yep.
Which, like, I made the joke that like, if you were to sad, you'd be like, I have a great.
So yeah.
Ordinate like 3 months, Viking some lube, and that gives him a kid in 3 months instead of 4, right?
Oh man.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So Viking Honor, that's a silver one. That's 24. Asgardian Secret, that's a gold. That's 28. Freya's Bliss, 24. It's a silver. Valkyrie, 28. So yeah, I think it is by gold or silver because the Ragnarok is 28. Yeah, I thought so.
Look at you knowing more than me.
I spend a lot of time browsing that website.
Yes, you have.
Planning my next order. Yeah.
So what's your next question you got there?
Yeah. Ooh. What's 20 like if you could like hang out with like spend a day somewhere with any of the Brand Viking masters, who would it be?
You know, that's a tough one because they all seem pretty cool. They all seem pretty similar and down to earth.
Yeah.
I think I'd like to hang out with Jens, to be honest. So he's got a cool story, right? And I share that bodybuilding background and whatnot. And he's taken such a different path in his life than me. I feel like I relate to him a lot. Like the other guys seem great too. Like Thor's a father, and he's also into bodybuilding. He's competed and stuff. They would be great to hang out with. But I think if I had to pick one, Jens would have a more interesting story to tell him.
Cool.
Totally, I understand that.
Yep.
I'm gonna give the same answer I always give, and this man is still my spirit animal, Docky. I love you. If I could lick the fucker, I would just be sitting in the corner laughing the whole time. Like he'd just be like, "Why did I bring this guy with me? All he does is, you know, sit in the corner in a ball and cry and make leaving sounds."
Yeah, for sure.
I love him. What about you, Jordan? Who's your master of choice that you would spend a day with, lunch with, whatever your time frame of?
I gotta go Thor.
Yeah.
Yep.
What makes you want to hang out with Thor?
He just seems like such a just like low key, like relaxed, but also like super funny dude. And like I think I'd love to just talk about like his content and like his like creative process and all that kind of stuff. So I think definitely Thor.
Cool.
Yep.
How many questions you got left there, my man?
I got a whole list, but I can pull up a couple more. What made you want to start growing a beard?
Partly. So I've always had kind of a beard. It's just not as long as it has been. I had a buddy that's a barber give me some tips because it grows really wild. Like it gets super curly, especially on the sides.
Oh, cool.
So I would just keep it short and not to have it look like a pube fro. So, and then also there's, you guys probably seen him, Greg Brzezinski. He does some stuff for another brand. But
yeah.
When I looked up how to groom your beard, his video was the first that came up on how to get it a little more controlled. As soon as I figured that out, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have a wizard beard because now I can finally control this thing.
Yeah.
And so I've let it be a lot longer now that I know what to do with it.
Yeah, cool.
Before I just kept it short. Like Jordan, yours is about as long as mine would ever get before because it would go crazy any longer. And then I was like, all right, beard products and figure out this grooming. I'm going to have a wizard beard.
Yeah, that's cool.
I love it.
Yeah, one day I'm hoping to get Greg Brzezinski on our podcast because I would love to chat with him and like just hang out with him and learn more about him, because I've been like watching a ton of his like YouTube videos recently.
Yeah, for sure.
He's commented on a few of my stories and have had the opportunity to just kind of chat back and forth with him
Yeah.
through direct message. He's
Yeah,
just
same
like
here.
so laid back. I mean, he's just like I'm sure most people with a huge following are. Like they have a huge following because they're interesting and nice and people want to talk to him. But he just seems like a super laid back dude. He gave me some beard growing tips and whatnot. So yeah, you should get him on the show. I bet he'd be a hoot to have on.
Yeah, we're trying.
Yeah, man. That's the goal. Greg, if you're listening, we love you, baby. We love you.
Scott, what about you?
I forget what your question was.
Oh.
Beard.
Yeah, what made you want to grow a beard?
Oh, I did it to piss off my ex-wife. Yeah, no, she hated my beard. Like when I met her, I was real clean shaving, nothing there. She liked the 12-year-old boy look, as I like to call it. And I personally, it was not for myself. So once the relationship had set sail and it was all done, and we kind of realized that it just wasn't going to work, I grew it back out, and I've honestly fallen in love with it. And there was one point where we were possibly going to get back together again. And she was making the remarks like, are you ever going to shave it? Like, that's always going to be there. Like, really? You like the beard? And I didn't like how it made me feel inside. I got all fucking gross feeling. So I was like, yeah, no, I got to just keep a beard. It is who I am. I don't like looking like I'm 12. It's weird. Right. Who likes that? What women is into 12-year-old boys? Please don't answer that. Oh. But what about you, Jordan? What made you want to grow a beard?
I straight up don't look as good without it. Like I'll pull up an old picture here, like pre-beard, and you'll understand why.
Fair enough. You've been growing that beard for how long now, Jordan?
It's been 2-3 years, like probably 3 years since it like started. But it's nothing like it is now. Like,
fair enough.
Yeah.
And what about you, Pablo? How long have you been growing your beard for?
Like this specific beard?
Yeah, that specific beard.
Aaron might got like platinum. And it was so damaged, so I cut it down super short, like a week's worth of stubble, regrew it. So that was about 9 months ago to where I am now.
Damn, that is some legendary growth right there.
A lot of meat, a lot of protein.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's important for any gentleman in general. Is if you can eat meat and you will eat meat, eat plenty of it. It's good for you. I don't like what these people constantly say about, obviously you should watch certain things. Don't eat too much of one thing, but enjoy your meat. Enjoy the variety of it. It's meant to be.
Right.
Yeah. So this was.
You look like a baby. God damn.
Yes.
Look at that face.
Yeah, so 2017, so about 3 years ago.
God damn.
Yeah.
Well, you've come a long way, my friend. Your beard looks very nice.
Thanks. Yeah.
All right, my friend. Let's do one more question here for our guest, and then we should let him go. I know he has a personal life and a family to get back to, and a little one to help out with and whatnot.
I should at least pretend to help
out. All right. What's one beard care tip that you would want to share with other people?
So back to Greg Brzezinski's video, look up how to groom a beard, and it's something like, and Jordan, you can probably pull it up before I can even remember the name, but something that I think he calls it "How I Groom My Beard" or something. That video changed my life. He uses a round brush and a blow dryer just to kind of pull it out straight, and it'll keep guys from doing the like hedge trimming where you just try and cut off the strays.
Yeah.
Because that's what I was doing. But then, it grows all weird when you start doing that. So literally just that round brush and blow dryer trick that he puts in his video made me want to grow the baddest ass beard ever once I learned how to control it.
That is so cool. And are you hoping one day to have like the Dumbledore beard, like the Hagrid beard, just fucking, it's crazy. You can braid it as long as you want. You can do whatever you want to it.
I don't think I want to get that long, and I'll probably, once I get a little longer, I'll probably trim it back to where I am now. Right now, I have a good length, I think, for manageability, but maybe like mid-pack or so for a little while. Yeah. I don't think any longer than that. I want to get enough where I can do the way Thor, the movie character Thor, has his beard braided in the Endgame movie, the last Avengers movie. He's got like braids from the side braided into the middle. I just want to be able to do that at least like once.
Yeah, I think Jordan's just pulling up the picture here now.
Yeah, my computer is just very slow. But yeah,
that's all right. We will convince Apple to give you a petty computer.
Yeah, so something like that would be really cool. Yeah, that's sweet. Cool. So that's all my questions for tonight.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, and then as far as beard care tips, the only thing I have is maintain it. Just keep doing it. Just make sure that you keep on top of it. It's harder to get it back to being good and where you want it to if you don't maintain that.
It's hard to save it. Yeah, you can't save it.
For sure. Yeah, 100%.
What about you, Jordan? Do you have any beard care tips that you want to tell any of them beard people out there?
What do you think, Jordan? Like puberty, hit puberty, and then...
that's probably important. Definitely, like, because I lived up north for a year between grade 12 and when I started college, and my beard was like pretty wild and long at that point, like similar to what it is now, but not nearly as like nicely like taken care of, because I wasn't like brushing it or like blow drying it or anything, or like using like nice products with it. So like it was just kind of wild and all over the place. It didn't look good. Now it's like I've got like my cheek lines, like I trim them down like every once in a while, like under my neck, like, so it's a lot like nicer looking than it used to be. So yeah, definitely maintenance for sure.
But fair enough. Yeah, I think that's kind of like anything in life. Keep on top of it, right?
Yep, for sure.
That's what she said.
Hop on it, get on top of it, do whatever you need to do, baby. I don't know. Well, this has been a lot of fun, man. I really appreciate the fact that you were kind enough to take, we're at 2 hours now, Jordan? Something like that?
2 hours and 36 minutes.
There we go. Yeah, so 2 hours and 36 minutes out of your personal life and family time and everything. So just thank you so much for coming on, my man. It's been a
thanks for having me. We just made the Moose Brothers version of The Irishman, but hopefully people want to watch it.
Yeah, this is definitely more entertaining than The Irishman. Don't watch The Irishman. Watch this instead.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
But no, thank you from just the bottom of our hearts and everything for coming on, my man. It was a pleasure.
I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and I'll be watching.
Oh, very nice. Thank you so much. Jordan, is there anything you want to say to our guests before I possibly say something dumb?
Yeah, so as per usual, if you've watched our show before, I'll have links down below to Pablo's Beard Struggle discount link, which will get you 15% off any orders, as well as our 2 links and his social media, as well as our social media. So all the necessary links will be down below. It's all from me.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody. Go to our merchandise website and buy my Dicks of Fury flag. Yeah. All right. Take care, guys.